1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi. Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 6 Mississippi. Hey, what's up, UK Paul? Get everything sorted, y'all. We got a few minutes before the actual official stream starts. Yeah, we'll see what happens today. What is this? Why does this look crazy? Oh, it's just the advertisement. Gotcha. Yeah, it's a female god. And she'll be announced today. They're going to be showing her today, so this should be interesting. She's a hunter, too. We got about an hour and 45, or hour 43 minutes. I mean, a minute 43 seconds. An hour, right? Supposedly, this is probably going to take us about an hour and a half. Because supposedly, they're going to be putting out a lot of stuff, so we'll see. We will, because they didn't have a 11.1 update. So this, I guess they're going to be taking all the feedback they got from the 11.1, and then they're going to be mixing it with whatever they had planned for this upcoming one. I guess I should tell people we're live, right? We are live. There you go. Send it. Send it. Yeah, so she's going to be going live on Tuesday, so that should be pretty interesting. So I'm going to have to see if I can log in on Tuesday, at least to try her out. Who knows? Maybe we'll do a stream depending on what I have going on at the house to check her out. What's going on? What's going on? All right, so we're going to be starting here. Go ahead and turn off the music. And go ahead and turn their voice on here in about 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1, and action.
Hello everybody and welcome to another beautiful Smite update show. I am Titan Dandy and I'm honored to be here to introduce update 11.2. But I'm not here doing it alone, obviously. I've never done it alone because I would drown. I have two amazing people here to help, Lermy and Chaos. Welcome.
What's going on, Ice? Oh, you made the 12 month. You got the white banner now.
Y'all ready for a wonderful Valentine's Day update show?
There's a lot to get through in this one, so I'm very excited.
There's a lot.
I knew this was gonna be a big one.
Super excited for it. I hope all of y'all have a wonderful Valentine's, whether you're queuing up with your partner or I don't know, sending those really fun cards on Twitter all the time. I didn't get one yet, so I'm kind of sad, honestly. I hope that y'all have a wonderful day, but we're here to really talk about what we love, and that's Smite. So I'm going to start off doing the same thing I always do. I'm going to talk a lot. We got a lot of cool things for me to run through. Starting off with community events, I'm sure as a lot of y'all have noticed, 10 million gems are back. We're giving away 10 million gems again between now and the beginning of next month. So we have plenty of time left, and it's happening every half hour. All you need to do to enter is play a game of Smite. Complete any game. Of course, that doesn't include, I think it's jungle practice and bot matches or something like that. It's written down. There's a blog. Check it out if I said that wrong. But all you have to do is complete a game. So queue up, play some arena, some joust, hit conquest, the ranked grind, and then
play
maybe
some arena,
on the
you
half
said it.
hour you'll see your name pop up announcing that you are the winner of 10,000 gems. Again, that is 10,000 gems every half hour. Until the beginning of next month. So you have a lot of time. You have till March 1st. So hopefully you win. Either way, I'm loving seeing all the names roll across. It is always so fun. So next up, we got a little merch announcement here. So we've released a lot of cool merch in the past. It's one of the things that I'm proud of is how cool our stuff is. And we have a new addition to the plushie collection. We have the Cthulhu plush. Super excited about it. The Cthulhu plush is so good looking. I'd have one right here on the desk with me if it was still here, but it's been traveling recently. So Cthulhu is a worldly creature and will soon be available to all. Actually, might even be today. So keep your eyes out for that.
I don't
Check
think
our
I've seen the
Twitter
Cthulhu
and
plush.
get yours as soon as you can because they are fantastic. It's probably one of my favorite plushes we've done. Not biased because I'm a Guardian fan or anything. So next, I want to touch on a little quality of life thing. I know, quality of life, it's been a while since I've called it out, but this one's just really cool. We added some voice lines to the pre-match areas from everybody's favorite lore lady. So Suhaila, who I hope some of y'all got a chance to meet at SWC, we've added 2 new voice lines in the pre-match lobby that say pick your god or select your god, and those happen when it's your turn to make a god selection pre-match lobby. So just a really cool thing with Newt coming in, and we'll talk about Newt later, but just, you know, shout out to the lore lady, to Suhaila, because amazing work, super cool thing we got to add in there. And last but not least, in my tirade of talking, we have some really cool news about an event coming up from our wonderful esports side. So it's, you know, Worlds came and went. We had to take a breather, you know, plant our feet again. People who didn't sleep for weeks had to do that, sleep for a little while. But now we're back and we have something really exciting. We have a Creator Cup on the way. I wanted to make sure I said the name right.
A Creator Cup
for me.
What's this?
But the Creator Cup is on the way, and this is going to be really cool. So content creators are going to form teams with their subscribers, with people from their community, and we're gonna have a tournament. We're gonna play it out with all of these people. So I mean, it's really cool. The event's gonna run on weekends, starting in March, concluding in June. So it's gonna go for a while, and the teams will be playing for a charity that they help choose. So we're going to work together with
it's
teams,
all conquest.
get some charities chosen, and the winner is going to benefit the charity of their choice. So let's talk about some of the format we have going on. And it's here on screen. We have 3 weeks of open bracket, 3 weeks of group play, and then 1 weekend for the final bracket. And the top 4 teams are going to have some cool stuff come their way. They're going to get a trip to Titan Forge Studios in June to play in the LAN. So they're going to be here in person playing live. They're going to get some behind-the-scenes tour of the studios, just a little look around where all the magic for Smite happens. A donation to the charity of their choice, with the amount being based on the final seeding. It'll ebb and flow a little. Some access behind the scenes to Smite 2 development. Get a look at some of the process we've been working through as we continue tirelessly to bring Smite 2 to life and make it the best Smite experience ever. And some other loot and goodies as well, because you can't come here and leave without picking up some loot, you know. Plenty of loot to be had around the office.
Too bad they don't do arena
super
tournaments,
excited
man.
for
I
this.
think that would be
Again,
pretty fun.
keep your eyes on the Smite Pro Twitter. Keep your eyes between that and the Smite Game Twitter. We'll make sure all the announcements hit y'all as we continue to progress towards the kickoff of this, or if you're interested in signing up with your community, that stuff's on the way. But it's going to be really cool. Like, this is the type of stuff that's always so fun, bringing people in for tournaments like this. I couldn't be more excited, and I hope that y'all are excited as well. We're looking forward to getting into that a little later in the year. So now we're diving into some of the update, some of the meat of the update, kicking it off with some of the skins. So it's time. It's 11/2. That's the time for us to show off something that you can't get for the rest of the year. We have the Commendation skin coming y'all's way. So first up, we have the Golden
there's not going to be
Luster
too much they
Bake
can do
Kujira
with that
skin.
well, I think.
Dude, this skin
Maybe
is
a-
so sick. I know we pick a
a
different
Free
god
Willy
every
skin
year,
or
and usually
something?
it's the
I don't
one
know.
that's been released, in the past year
Yeah.
of Smite. But this is such a good
Killer
choice.
whale?
I mean, he just looks so
Or
like,
Pinocchio, sperm whale.
cool,
In his
ethereal.
element.
Yeah, no, literally in his element, especially in this art as well. I mean,
Yeah.
magnificent.
I don't know who the whale caller is down there, but like me. That's me. I'm
I
about
guess
to
they
get
can do
eaten
like
probably,
a
but like,
because Disney will eat their
super
butts
cool.
up.
So
They try
yeah,
to do
so
a Pinocchio theme.
don't get banned this year. Be on your good behavior. Play, be a good teammate, and you will earn the skin for yourself as the commendation reward for this year of Smite. So super excited for
Well,
that, and good luck in your matches and being a
For
good
y'all
teammate.
that didn't know,
Next up, we're getting into
the
a new
GGC is
chest
part
coming with the
of the
11.2
development
update.
testing
this will
for
be the
Smite 2.
Cosmic Tyranny chest coming with
So every
Cosmic Thrawn
Friday,
Hades.
I go into a secret
Yo.
squirrel Discord.
Hades.
They open
This
up the
perspective is
servers and I
kinda wild,
test.
right?
I help
He's
them
got,
test
like, a galaxy like in his
Smite
hand,
2. So
Yeah.
you
and then
know
he's
we
like,
have
"Yeah, you're next, bro.
representation for
It's
Arena.
this time."
It's
in
kind of like
Smite
the
2.
point, like 1 minute.
I've been voicing my
Next.
voice.
So super excited for that.
Because
I mean,
after we finish
gotta love me a
testing
little
for
awe.
you know
There
the
he is.
time they
Look at
give
his
us,
face.
I have to
He's
do a
very serious.
feedback form. I have to fill out a
Oh my god,
form
he's got a
on
little
everything
big
that I
eyes.
eyes, but
encounter,
it makes
and
him, it gives him a little bit
I'm-
of that alien vibe, you know?
I'm
Yeah.
promoting us. Let me
I
put
mean,
that
it
way.
definitely suits him, right? We haven't really explored this direction.
we do
quite
have a
of
voice.
Hades as this kind of like galactic overlord, but
True.
it's a cool vibe.
The eyes just give me the Lamal vibes, so I'm there for it. Absolutely. But no, super amazing skin. And you know, I don't think. This is a cross-gen skin, which means we
It
have a
looks like
Smite
an
2 render
ant.
for it.
It
So we
looks
should
like some
check out
kind
the
of
Smite
ant,
2 render.
Oh my
creature.
gosh.
Dude.
Bro, okay. I've been saying this, but the lighting in Smite 2 is really next level. You can tell with some of these like particle effects that we have in this
Yeah.
render, where they just like shine and reflect off of the materials and all of that good stuff. It just looks incredible.
I completely
like some
agree.
kinda
And
like
this has
an
been one of my
ant
favorite.
lord or
This is my favorite
something.
new addition of the update show. Is we're getting to show off now all of these renders as we're able to, and just so exciting. So next up, moving down the skin line, we have the Immortal Honor event. Now, if you saw the update show that happened live at World on Stage, that was cool. I love it. You heard me talk about the Immortal Honor event. The event runs all year. It's 2 skins per update. You could have already bought it all, which means you're just getting 2 skins per update for the rest of the year, or you can do it in chapters. You can do it individually. It's completely up to you. But the Immortal Honor event's getting 2 new skins. It's a new update. So to show those off, we're going to kick it off with Kiss Me XOXO Aphrodite. Very appropriately timed for this time of year, or for this exact day, I guess, too.
Yeah,
huh?
true. Goddess
She
of
looks
love,
like a Twitch
confirmed on
streamer.
Valentine's Day. What do you know?
True. And I like that you use the word confirmed there, because
Twitch
if
streamer
a skin
Aphrodite.
is cross-gen, that means that God is going to be in Smite 2. So is
Yeah.
Aphrodite confirmed Smite 2? Would you look at that?
That's crazy.
Wow.
What a good time, like you said.
Yeah, we're spoilering stuff.
Bro, and
So-
this skin's so fun. I love these like gamer.
I was about to say, she's got the
skins.
gamer.
They're so funny. The voice packs especially. I think Tina had a hand in this one, so I'm sure you guys are gonna love it.
When Tina has a hand in a voice back, you know you're in for something special. It's just kind of universally true. And yeah,
Looks
I
good.
absolutely love it. I mean, again, I'm a huge fan of the gamer thing, all the digital vibes, the color schemes. Absolutely incredible. And here in just a sec, we should be able to see a Smite 2
Just
render
the
as well.
shading on her stomach, dude. It's crazy.
Nice.
It
Absolutely love it.
It looks so good. All like I said, the textures, the materials, they just
Yeah.
they're like kicked up to 10. You know what I mean? Even past
That's
10.
a
They
big
keep going to
difference,
11
dude.
Here.
Well, let's check this out in game in Smite 1. Let's be clear, we're not spoilering Smite 2 in game yet. You gotta wait a little longer. But in Smite 1, let's check this
Ooh.
out.
I still love how it looks in Smite 1 though. I mean, the
Oh,
basic
completely
attacks,
agree.
dude. Yeah.
The pulsating like digital heart thing, absolutely great.
All the
It
little
looks nice.
particles
Looks
coming off
nice.
of the basics and the kiss there. Oh, that's so fun. It's a
Yeah.
little dance floor.
It's a little boogie
Partying
time.
with your soulmate.
And you know, to just to continue to repeat this, owning this skin means that you will have it in Smite 2 when Smite 2 releases. It'll be part of the initial roster available to you as long as your accounts are linked. So you get it now. You're able to have it in Smite 2. Everything you're seeing here already looks good, but as Lermy had mentioned earlier, you have that beautiful new lighting you get to look at in Smite 2 as well. It's a lot to be excited about. So if you don't have the Immortal
Yeah,
Honor
dude,
event,
that
you might want to
Unreal
think about picking
Engine
it up, because it's
is-
24 skins Smite 1,
Unreal Engine
24
5 is
skins
just
Smite
nasty,
2,
son.
and I don't know. I just couldn't be more excited about this. Smite 2 is just, it's amazing. So let's keep moving before I talk myself into a circle here with a kind of a relevant to Valentine's next skin. We have Onyx Blade Susanoo.
Wait, we did not.
We did.
We did not.
We did.
Okay. All right. Well, e-couples know that you have a place in Smite 2.
Yeah.
Because you've got your other half here.
Other half right here, confirmed Smite 2. Now, you know, they have different jobs, obviously. One of them, the queen of the internet. One of them, slayer of dark skeletons and forces of evil, maybe? I don't know. The sword looks a little evil itself, but
Yo.
that is so cool,
Dude,
dude.
Love the
Blade
glimmer on
looks
this.
awesome.
On the
Yeah, it like
blade, yeah.
shimmers.
Oh, that's so cool.
Dude, it looks like something
Yeah,
from Mortal
the
Kombat,
belts.
don't it?
Does he really need that
Has
many
like a
belts?
the
Can we be
Mortal
honest here
Kombat
for a
feel to it.
second?
There's a belt number to coolness ratio, and Susanoo is on top of it.
I
so.
guess so, man. You know, he knows more than me, I guess, in that regard.
Yeah, I mean, same. I just, you know, I read once. He
I
told
can
me
tell
we
you
were
what,
talking
man, the
earlier, he was
texturing
like, the more belts, the
for this
better.
new Unreal
So,
Engine is just
let's
amazing,
check out the
dude.
Smite 2 render for this skin.
Yes, please.
Dude, the way metal looks too.
Yeah, the way the
I mean,
metal
like, just the
shines,
texture
and you
of
can see the different
fabrics,
colors,
Yeah.
and the
feels
shading
like
is
so
really,
much
really
more,
nice.
Like realistic is like maybe not quite the word, but like it feels like they have such a big stark difference.
Yeah.
Between like that
I
and the
can
skin and the metal
pretty much
and the hair,
guarantee
just
you
everything feels really
that you're
like,
going to
more
be able to
tangible,
see
you know
a
what I mean?
huge
Yeah.
difference
So
in graphic
Snow
quality
confirmed Smite
from
2, two
Smite
amazing
1 to Smite
skins
2.
with the Immortal Honor event. And if you hit buy all, you're just gonna get them. It'll be that way. I'll be saying that for the rest of the year. Every update we have what? I don't know, 10 more updates. I'll just be like, you already have them. You hit buy all. If you haven't yet, that's fine. If you want one or the other, buy it individually. If you want all of them for like the first chapter of the year, which it might be quarter.
Yeah,
there's a chapter
graphics are
system.
amazing,
Buy
dude.
that if you. It's completely up to you. So, but either way. They're all going into Smite 2, and something else that I want to touch on is, legacy gems, right? We've talked a lot about those, and y'all have heard us say a lot. For those who don't know, legacy gems are every gem you've ever spent in Smite. We're talking all time. Like, you created your
That's
account, you
crazy.
spent gems. We count those too. Every single bit are going over into Smite 2. You're getting them. They do a lot of things, and there's a whole blog about it, but 50% off a lot of gem purchases. And there are some exceptions, and we've talked about it. I'm sure y'all are sick of hearing this. But I wanted to remind y'all that we're still counting. We didn't announce this and then stop counting. We're still counting. If you bought the Immortal Honor event, or you rolled the chest that we just talked about with the Hades skin, those are going on at the legacy gem pile. We're still counting up the gems.
Well, I
you
would
spend
hope that
to
they
give
keep
back to
counting
you in
until
Smite 2.
beginning
We
of
didn't
Smite
just,
2, right?
All right, well, we told them stop the clock. Like, up until it launches, we're counting. So, just know that, like with Immortal Honor event, right? You're getting 24 skins for Smite 1, 24 skins in Smite 2, and all of your gems returned to you as legacy gems in Smite 2. So it's bananas, okay? I know that we've probably beaten this legacy gem thing into the ground.
You know,
but
from all the
I
damn
wanted to say it again
crybabies I've
'cause it's
seen
bananas
on Twitter
that we're
or
really
X,
trying to give you every gift we can to say thank you
they
for all
didn't
you've
have
done
to
for
do
us,
this, dude.
and we hope
Because
you
Smite
enjoy
2 is a
Smite
totally
2.
different
So,
game. They
anyway,
didn't have
I'll
to do
stop
this.
soapboxing
So
now.
the fact that
We're
they're
gonna get into
doing
some
this is
balance, I
huge,
think.
man.
I've
It's
talked enough.
freaking
I gotta let
huge.
the other two. I gotta let the people over here who know what they're talking about do some talking. So first up, let's just start with Conquest. Let's start.
Now,
talking about
we'll
some
be
Conquest
asking them
changes.
on
Got a
next
couple of
time.
camps
I
changing
think
around,
every
starting with
Fridays
Red
when we
Yeah,
test Smite
so
2,
11 was
I'm gonna
huge.
ask them about the T5 skins. If there's any,
A lot of stuff went into it, and one of
is
the
there
things
anything in the
that
mix
really
where
made
they're
a
gonna
big
transfer
impact
those to Smite
going
2?
into
I
this
want to
update
get an
was
answer to
the
that.
change to
Maybe they'll
class
tell me,
passes where
yeah,
you
I
got
know, or tell
food.
me
Yeah.
they
So
can't
one
tell
of the
me,
biggest
but
things
I'm
for
gonna ask the
mages
question.
specifically in relation to the red buff, because that's typically where they end up.
Yeah.
Is that they had a much harder time clearing the red buff because they were missing a bunch of power. So what we've done specifically to help mages, not necessarily hunters in middle, because the change here is to decrease the protections of the big manticore
Okay.
in that camp down in terms of the magical ones from 16 to 10. So that's a pretty big base decrease
Yeah.
for specifically the magical characters. That's going to help them a lot in terms of clearing.
Cool. Awesome. Well, harpies, to continue the camp talk, are next. Mid harpies specifically.
Yeah, kind of same idea with mid harpies in general. There was a lot of issue in terms of clearing those because, again, missing power. Even junglers missing a bit of pen, right? So they're having a little bit of tough time with that as well. So altogether, when it comes to the class passive change, those kind of two really fit together in terms of we need to make sure that people are able to do this and they're not spending too much time here, or they're dying to it, or feeling like they can't do much after doing those camps.
Yeah, the inadvertent camp buff just kind of being brought back down a little bit. So next up, a feature that I have always loved. I loved the first iteration. I love the second iteration. Stygian Beacon is getting a little bit of a touch up.
Yeah, I think the big
You're
thing
just
here
talking
was we wanted to make
Conquest
sure
right now.
that we kind
Oh,
of
who's this
redesigned
dude? This is a
the
new
board there
guy.
behind that.
And it feels good. It's a really, it's definitely you're like, I want to unleash these Titans. I love the buff. Let's fight over this. And now you don't have to worry about the Titans unleashing, but you're like, I want to siege these towers. We're going to fight over this. So
Right.
I think you did really well.
Yeah, and I think it accomplished that goal, but it wasn't kind of carrying into the late game as strong as we wanted.
Okay.
And we wanted to kind of feel that impact a little bit more, like wanted to push the needle in the game a little bit more.
Yeah.
So we figured that kind of small buff would kind of like push it in that direction.
Got it. Super cool. So next up, something else that's kind of new to the Conquest world. You have the Fire Giant Effigy, and it's getting a little bit of love.
Notice how they
Yeah, so
sound a
this is
lot
little
better.
rock that you may see
They
next to the fire
upgraded
giant
their
rockets,
mics. They're
started.
using. It looks like
It's
they're
just a
using
little guy, and, once he
SM7Bs.
gets taken down, the fire giants start to take a lot more damage, right? But what we've been seeing in the matches that we've looked at,
That's why it
is
sounds a
that
lot
it's
better.
just not dying very much. It's not dying very quickly. People aren't necessarily interacting with it, in the way that we were expecting them to. So we want to kind of give players a little bit more incentive to go and take a look and start hitting it a bit more. So we're making it, bringing down that health just a hair, just 150. But even with the mitigations and stuff built on top of it, it can be a little bit difficult to get through that.
They probably saw my
if you're,
streams, me clowning them all the time with
those
little stupid mics
you know,
they
if
had.
you are the sole responsible person for it, we want to make sure that any kind of class, any kind of build can get through it.
Okay, cool. Well, that's awesome. And last but not least, kind of next to the effigy and across the map, we have in general a change to some of the map bosses or the way you interact with them. So what's going on with that?
So specifically, there was a lot of reports of players not being able to lifesteal from jungle bosses, and this kind of came to be because of the lifesteal changes that we made in the previous patch, where we took down the percentage that you could heal from minions by 50%. And on top of that, map bosses debuff you to heal 50% less as well. So you end up getting to a net of 0, which means that you're healing nothing. So actually, you know, your lifesteal was working. It just was getting debuffed to 0. So what we've done is we've actually changed that debuff that gets applied to you when you're trying to lifesteal to be 25% instead of 50. So in total now, if you are trying to lifesteal off of a jungle boss, it will be for 25% and not 0%. That was not intentional. We have fixed that for this patch.
So yeah, you get a little bit of that lifesteal back. Super cool.
All right.
So now we're out of Conquest. We're moving into the world of Duel. So for those people who are Duel fans and have kept up, we've been rotating
that's
some
something
gods
different.
that have been banned.
I don't think they did anything for Duel for a while.
So we have the new list. But first, let's start off with the old. So freshly unbanned, we have a variety of gods, and you'll see them here on screen. These are freshly unbanned, starting with update 11.2.
Yeah, so as you'll notice here, there's some top tiers making their way back.
Top tiers.
We've got some Anhurs, Anubis, Huyi, Baka, Uller. I'm sure is going to be a very exciting one for a lot of content creators.
Pain in the butt,
but yeah, so we're starting to experiment with putting a lot of the top tiers, or mingling, you might say, top tiers back into the list. Because you can see here, there's also some that are not top tiers, or that you wouldn't expect them to be necessarily, but that were pretty popular in 10.13, so they got banned in 11.1, and now we're like, all right, it's 11.2, it's time for them to come back.
Yeah, you can have them back.
So we'll see. We're going to keep a really close eye on how these top tiers perform now that they're unbanned.
Yeah.
And see, you know, if we can
I still don't understand why I don't have a ranked arena, dude. I think that would be awesome.
It's going to be a lot of experimentation, but we have a really cool couple of patches planned ahead as well. So keep your eyes out for the next rotations as well. But I'm sure this one's going to be a lot of fun.
Well, that has been the motto for Smite 1 for as long as I've done update shows, is we have a really cool stuff now and later. So keep your eyes on it. So next up, obviously, if we're unbanning some gods, it's got to be some new banned gods as well. So let's look at that. These are the newly banned gods.
So these are a lot of the top performers in 11.1. We kind of are still keeping that mindset of if they're doing really well in the patch, we're going to take them out for the next one. That may, you know, continue to shift as we get more data from here and there.
That I'm kind of surprised.
And in various matches.
And
so we've had some new people show up, and some old people from the original list show up as well.
Yeah.
But in general, we are going to shift these guys in and see how the top tiers that have now been shifted in are going to look.
Cool, cool. And just as one more touch, we have the still banned gods, so things that weren't unbanned or not newly banned. These are here. These are the same, where they're still by.
Yeah, so a lot of these characters are going to be like your super SS plus, like your Kali's, your AMC's, Kronos is maybe out there.
Why is Oleron
those
banned?
characters are still banned because we know that playing against them can be a little bit frustrating. So we're trying to again limit the number of top tiers.
Is he like strong in Duel or
but
something?
Only certainly, we tried to kind of pick the ones that were a little bit less annoying. People wanted to play them more. But of course, we want to make sure that, you know, if you're a Kali main and you duel, you know, you're not going to not be able to play the god that you want to play.
Exactly.
Forever. She'll come back eventually. We're just figuring out exactly when we want to put her back in.
Well, seeing all of these, I completely agree,
Agni,
except for
I can
AMC, because that means no one losing corn, and that makes me sad.
No corn.
I mean, you're right. Super annoying, but I just like the corn. So ever since that skin came out, I was like, all right. AMC has a lot of good skins. Like,
yeah, right.
But a Moose and Corn is one of my
It'd be
favorites.
nice to do some arena
so
tournaments,
next up, we have
right?
one more game mode to talk about, and this is actually a little bit of an experiment. We're talking Slash, but we're not talking the Slash that everybody knows. We're talking Slash, but it's a 4v4. So this is an experiment that we're actually going to get into sometime in 11.2. The exact date we're still ironing out because it's an experiment. So we'll let y'all know. But what we're doing here is we're going to, for a while, have Slash available as a 4v4 game mode. For testing purposes. We want to see how the community likes it. We want to see if it feels like a healthier version of the Slash experience, if it just helps the game feel better overall. So again, bit of an experiment that we will be relying on our data, because we like our numbers, and y'all's feedback to help us decide if this is, if this was worth it, if it was a good idea. So again, y'all get more information in the future. Make sure to keep your eyes on our social pages and everything. And once it comes out, make sure to let us know with all of your very candid feedback. Please be candid. You always are. how you felt about it, because
Yes,
again,
we
we're
are.
running an experiment. We like to do things that we think people will enjoy, and y'all are the people. So if you don't enjoy it, let us know. If you do enjoy it, please let us know. And cool, past that, we're into the world of items now. You ready to talk
Here we
some
go,
items?
baby.
Oh, yeah.
All
Here we
right.
go. Let's
So
see.
we're kicking off with nerfs, and we're kicking off with some starter items.
Yeah, so the first starter item that we're going to talk about is Warrior's Axe. And kind of the theme with the two starter items that you're going to see here is that
Okay.
we had intentionally given them a bit of a buff that was a little larger than it may have needed to make
Physical
sure
power.
that
Physical
the meta
power. Okay.
was changing.
I was gonna
before
say, well,
Worlds
every
in a
time I
way that
use
was
something
going
in
to
a
be
build,
pleasant
man,
for
they
all of our
nerf it.
viewers
Yeah,
and our
that was
players.
enjoyable.
For lack of a better way to phrase that. So Warrior's
did
Axe
good.
specifically is getting a small decrease in physical power, 20 to 15.
Golly,
It's
dude.
going to definitely impact the early game for a lot of those characters that do like to use and abuse it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it also opens up a little bit for your blue stones, your tainted steels, lots of other options there.
Yeah.
And so the second one kind of on this list is Timeline. You know, it's getting
Yeah.
a small power reduction buff. And you'll see a little bit
Good.
why later, but we are only nerfing it a little bit because we have a competitor, spoiler alert, coming up. that
Spoiler.
we may be
Uh-oh.
buffing.
Cool. Well, for me to chime in and say the thing that I always
New
say,
item.
update notes are live right now. If you want to follow along, see all the numbers we're talking about, or check it out later, they will be live. So make sure you check those out during, before, or after the show. So let's move on. We have a very horrific emblem and a whole tree of it even to talk about.
Yeah, so this was far and away
They
the
decreased
relic
it by
that I heard the
5%.
most about throughout our playtesting phase, as well as just being live. I mean, I'm sure you experienced it quite a lot in support. It happened many a times that I would buy Horrific and just run it down, So having a lot of that power as a support does feel really, really nice.
Yeah.
But it definitely does a lot of things. We acknowledge that. But we want to make sure that the anti-healing aspect is still strong, the anti-shielding, that counter still exists.
Yeah.
So we're taking down a little bit of the slow, and we're also increasing the cooldown, so the availability of it is just going to be a little bit less frequent than all of the others, and that applies to every single rank of Horrific.
Got it.
You're
You
gonna
gotta make
fill
sure that you're
5%? I
choosing
don't know,
when to
man.
use it a
I
little
don't
more
know.
carefully now. All right, so next up, we're talking one of our new wards.
I don't like
it
that
looks
extra
like.
10-second cooldown.
So that's
though.
exciting. What's going on with the new proximity ward?
So this one in general was mostly, it was very cool to
Yeah.
see a lot of new plays around the Proximity Ward.
They
which
are
is
very cool.
Just awesome.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I was very excited to see people use this, but there was one use case that we were like, ooh, I don't know how to feel about that. And that was in lane, buying it in lane to start with. To kind of act
They
as a
took one
combat
damage one away?
kind of trick,
Which-
more
yeah.
or less, to drop it on people that can't really run away. Maybe they don't even have their movement abilities by the time you get to lane, and
Yeah,
they just gotta get slowed.
Yeah.
And I think that's a use case we definitely wanted to see with proximity ward. I think we just didn't want to see it as early as it was happening, and so that's why we're kind of shifting it so that it's like locked behind at level 5.
Yeah, and it really is just the laning phase that we thought was like the problematic part. So level 5 is like the lowest unlock we have in the game in terms of when you're able to buy things.
Yeah.
So it's really just laning phase is a no-go. Anytime after that, though, by all means,
Go
just
wild.
drop it on your enemies and slow them down.
Yeah, that's a super cool use case too, because somebody like me, I played with it a little bit. I was like, oh dude, I'll put it on the far side of Fire Giant. They come to contest, they're slow, we turn on
when
them,
Smite 2
beautiful.
comes out,
My brain
I'm
had never
gonna
even
try
clicked
every
into it for
mode,
the
dude.
longest
I'm gonna
time,
see if I like
throw it
Smite
at them
2
while I'm running them
Conquest.
down. They'll never
I'll
escape. Like,
try it. I'll
super.
try it.
That's why I love giving things into the world and watching people make
If
plays
not,
with them,
we
because
just
I'm
back
over
to
here getting
Arena
my
World,
mind
baby.
blown constantly.
We'll
So
be
moving
doing
forward,
Arena anyway, but
Demon
still.
Blade, Devoted Deathbringer. What is the line between them? What are the changes?
Crit.
Crit.
Crit's good.
Crit is good.
Crit is good.
Crit is good.
One of the main things we wanted to address here with Crit
Dude,
in
why do they
particular is
keep
there is a
nerfing
very
this item?
common,
It's already
discussion
freaking
that
nerfed to the
happens
ground. I
whenever
just don't
Crit becomes
understand it.
relevant, where Crit just has too many stats. It
Yeah.
does a lot of different things. It's too multifaceted, and that's an argument that we totally understand, and we see that purpose coming around, especially when we
course.
see the builds and things and the theoreticals all come into line. We're like, yeah, you guys right about that one.
Yeah, you were
So for Demon Blade, this is a very
I mean, I
interesting
don't
one
really
because
use
Demon
this item
Blade's
that much, but
passive
still, I just
gives
don't
you
understand why they
penetration
keep
and attack
nerfing
speed.
it.
Well,
Yeah.
no longer does it give you attack speed. It still has the attack speed on the base stats of the item.
Okay.
You just don't gain it when you crit.
Got it.
So that extra aspect
Yeah,
of
it
gaining
has to be
another set of stats
fast-paced
is no
combat
longer going to
action for
happen.
sure,
It's just going
or
to
I
be
get
on the
bored
base of
really
the
quick.
item, and that's it. As
Rock and
for
roll.
Devoted Deathbringer, though, I mean, this is a very contentious item. I know this is kind of like
Decrease
the
crit
enabler
multiplier.
when it comes to the crit build. So we are
Dude,
just
are
going to
we really
decrease
gonna
this
feel
multiplier
that?
one
I
more
mean,
time. We kind of stealth
point
nerfed it coming out of
0.05.
PTS, which, you know, we didn't have a whole lot of communication
Are really?
on, which
Are we
apologize
really even
for,
gonna
and that kind of
notice
led to
that?
a lot of that like
Yeah,
misunderstanding.
probably
of,
not,
Oh, this is
dude.
way more
Probably
OP
not.
than it actually is.
Yeah.
But we still have seen a lot of that stress around crit is really strong. So we want to take it down one more time to make sure that we are really, you know, nailing exactly.
I don't think
what you
we're
guys
even
want
gonna
here.
feel the
I think
difference
one
on
of the
that,
core
dude.
things about the item is we wanted to make sure that people who wanted to just go maximizing crit had like a good payoff for doing that. But we felt like maybe in its current state, it was a little bit too strongly tuned in that direction.
Yeah.
So this is just a way to kind of bring it back more in line with the rest of the item builds.
Got it. But I mean, man, what a messed up day. Nerfing something with the word devoted on the day of love. Like,
Gosh,
obviously we
sorry.
weren't devoted to keeping that. It's whatever, you know.
Oh yeah,
But
it's Valentine's
anyway,
Day,
we're
huh?
moving on to buffs now in the item trees. Starting with also kind of relevant to Valentine's
Under
Day, I
too
guess,
strong.
the gyms. So
yeah.
Conduit and Archmage's gym, both
Yeah.
kind of on this buff
Decrease the
tree.
time
This is
per
what I was
stack
referring
from
to
1
earlier when I
second
said
to
that a competitor
0.5
was getting buffed.
seconds.
Conduit is now getting buffed.
Decrease
It's
true
getting a kind
damage
of an
per
interesting
stack
shift,
from 2
actually,
to
which
1.
I would consider a buff, to where the stack time, you know, because when you get Conduit Gem, you have to stack up, and it takes time to get those stats, right? And so a lot of times...
So you'll get it
saying
faster, but it's going to do half the damage. That's what I'm reading, right?
Essentially, you have to wait a long time to get the full payoff of it, to get the full lane clear, etc.
Yeah.
We're going to be decreasing that time by half, but we're also slightly decreasing the true damage per stack that you're getting.
So this
not
is
counting
kind
the
of
minions,
like
this is
a,
just on players.
Yeah.
It's kind of like
by
a
one.
smoke
So
screen,
yes,
really,
you're getting
dude.
it
Because
faster.
it
You're going
should
to
be
do slightly less damage,
theoretically
but
the
it's still
same
going to be
to an
way,
extent.
way more damage than
because
you
you're
ever
building
would have
it
been doing before at 10
double
seconds.
the fast,
So
but you're
overall,
doing
it's a buff,
half the damage.
Just kind of keeping it
You know
in
what I'm
line
saying?
with this very
So
slight
where you're
adjustment to the
getting
damage.
to
I think
proc
this
it
item has taken
twice,
a bit of a backseat
now
to
you can be able
Sans
to
for a
proc it
bit,
4
and it's
times,
cool
or
to
you're
see
able to
it,
proc it
like,
once,
a
then you
lot,
proc it 2
more
times.
consistent and
For
that
half
I
and
will
half
get it off,
damage,
and I think
you know
it
what I'm saying?
reduces the
So
friction,
it's-
which is going to make
I
it
see what
a
they did
lot
there.
easier to build. And
It's just a shell game.
Yeah,
dude.
make it make more sense.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of same idea there for Archmages as well. There's no damage shift on this one because really this
you
one
just
has
build
not
them
been very
faster.
popular
Yeah.
for a long time, if ever.
True.
I guess
so
something
we
like
really
that
wanna
probably
see
work good
if
with
this
Zeus.
is going to help shift up the focus skin.
This is probably the only one that
and
jumps to
Bring it on.
mind,
Gemma
really.
focus. Haha. I didn't know. That's so
All the
funny.
gym jokes. I mean, you heard it here. Between those two buffs, take your that special lane partner you have, or that special team member you're queuing with, over to the jungle shop and buy him one of those gyms for Valentine's Day. So,
If only. Well, you're giving me ideas now. Stop.
there you go. So next up, completely unrelated to gyms and love, Death's Temper.
Yeah, so this is a hunter basic tag item
Yeah.
that you really haven't seen very much of. And you could even say it's possible to build it in solo. We have
Wow.
been seeing some Death Embrace.
Yeah, they're
over
doing
in
the same
solo,
thing
which is
here.
A little crazy.
Oh, very fun. Lots of
Um,
healing
yeah.
to go
The only
with that. But
difference
Death
is
Temper
you're
really
going to
kinda taking
get
a back
the
seat
the
again
7%
to
damage
just a
that
better
much faster.
upgrade, it seems in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So, what
So
we're
you only
doing
need to
here
get
is 10
5
minions.
stacks.
That's a lot of
But
minions
once you
to
get
have
those
to
5
kill.
stacks, you're doing
Especially
7%
because
damage.
most
That's what I'm
waves have
reading.
6, right? So that's more than a single
And then
wave
they
that you have
increase
to
the
take care
health
of.
by
And this is
double.
when you're level 20. How often are you really
Ooh.
being in the waves at level 20?
That's
going
gonna
to
be nasty, son.
Not very often,
That's
right?
true.
So what we've done is we've just kind of shifted Death's Temper to have half the stacks, but double the stats. So you're still getting to the point where you need to get the same number value across the board. You're just
Okay.
getting there in half the time. So 5 minions instead of 10. Same damage, and then we also gave it an extra 75 health because
Dude,
we're
that's
looking
an
at
awesome
that
hunter
75 health
item
with
right
tier
there.
3, kind of crazy a little
I
bit.
used to use
So
that on my
Kinda nutty a
Cupid.
little bit.
just a little bit more help in the stats department as well.
Yeah, I think
Sounds good.
Similar to Conduit, right? It's like, how do we make this item more reliable?
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
this definitely makes this item
Yeah,
more
it's good. And
reliable.
that's
Especially,
that
like,
was
there are
that's going to
times where
be
I've always wanted to
a
build Death's Temper 'cause I
beneficial
love, going
type
attack speed. items,
change
maybe
right
didn't
there.
want to go into the lifesteal one, but that kind of minion restriction always
I
comes.
honestly think you're going to see your damage increase if you normally use Death Temper. You're probably going to see your damage
Yeah,
increase.
I mean, I completely agree too. Like, it's also when you get to the point
at the
of
end
these
of the game when you
items
see your stats.
work at a technical level,
You're
but
probably gonna
now we
get
need to
higher
think about,
player
like you said, that
damage.
friction. Like,
Right,
why?
yeah.
What is it that makes this feel more attainable or makes this a competitive option? So it's cool to see that the stats are changing, but we're also looking at what helps gives this item edge against its better competitors. It's just cool to see those changes. So awesome. To continue, staying on brand with this day of love, rejuvenating heart.
Oh my gosh, we just really
Y'all
made this.
planned this. The script for this one's crazy.
All right, if you see his
Holy
numbers,
crap!
you're gonna think
Shared
it's crazy.
healing
And believe me,
increase from
I thought it was
33%
crazy.
to 75.
33% shared healing to 75%. This is a magical item. So you're
Okay.
getting on a magical characters who a lot of
Shared
the time
healing.
are already getting hit by a 33% AoE coefficient decrease to their lifesteal. So getting 33% of 33% was not ideal by a lot of regards.
That's a pretty.
So
I mean, I
even
don't
if you
really
are
use
sharing
this
that with
item, but
teammates,
that's
it's
a
always
pretty
really nice. It's good to
significant
share.
It's good to
buff
share.
if you
It
use
wasn't
that.
very much, and you're also getting that additional healing.
That might be
yourself.
good, like,
So
on the
the first thing we were
Aphrodite.
like, okay, well, this is not very much healing at all. And number two,
Or maybe
people
even a
have never
Baron,
really
too.
thought to pick up this item,
might
even
have
when
to
in
check
its
that
old
out.
passive. So we
Yeah.
really need to give it a big push
We need to give it some love.
if we want people to give it a
the
try,
heart,
right?
yeah.
So we understand this number will look scary, but maybe lifesteal will be good. Lifesteal's good at last.
Dude,
Yeah.
season 11 is like
Question
the
mark?
season of life.
Well, the only two things that I can take away from this are, one, how effortlessly you use the word coefficient there. Like, you just slid that right into a sentence, and it hit me
I
like
have
a
a college degree.
flashbang.
That's right.
I was like, okay, that's a word people use. That's a big word. Secondly, we all have big hearts around here. So, 75% or 40-something% bigger. I can do math. 42% bigger. We're just out here showing the love. So I'm excited for
math
that, especially
good.
as somebody
I'm
who
math good.
likes sharing the healing. So Vibrant Shard is next on the docket, and it's getting a little buff action.
Yeah, so the
Increase
new
physical
passive shard
damage-
certainly made
damage
quite a big
scale
mark on the
They made a
battlefield.
splash.
They did. Vibrant Shard, though, was perhaps the least of them all, and that was a little bit disappointing to us because we understand that
Is
Party
this the
Punch
one where
was
you have to
definitely a
travel
jungler
so
special,
much,
right?
Yeah.
like
But
almost
also
like a
Golden
Mercury?
Shard was super, super good. So we were like,
We have to
okay, well,
travel
Golden
so much
Shard's
and you
kinda
get
new. We wanna
buffs. I
keep
can't
seeing,
remember
like,
what
it can
this one
do
did. I
throughout
don't
the
use it.
patch, But
Yeah, of
Vibrant
course.
Shard, we kind of want to increase the rate that people are going to try it, and especially towards that later stage of the game, which is why we touch the
I'm
scaling
gonna have to look
specifically.
at it.
But it's kind of a tough spot to land on, right? Because if it's
Yeah.
too good, people aren't going to trade it out, and then if it's not good enough, they're just never going to buy it.
Yeah, quite the thin line you have to walk there.
Yeah, it's tough.
So next up, the thing that every time I see it on the notes, I have to
Ooh.
think, how do I say this? Cannoneers, it's Curus? Is it Curus?
I want to say Curious.
Curious?
You want to say? That's a lot of confidence you
Yeah.
just gave me. All right. Cannoneer's chestplate. What's up?
So this item has been so close to being support viable for a very long time.
Yeah.
Right now, the
Cool item.
decision between going Cloak or going into Thebes is still pretty cool. I
Yeah.
think a lot of players are really enjoying having that option to go, either one of those or both. They're very fun items, right? But Cannoneers is kind of this undiscovered third option, and really what's happening is that
We don't
it
use
just
this
is
in
not
Arena,
as stat
dude.
efficient as the other two. You start to earn a lot of prots in Thebes and on the Cloak that you just aren't getting the same through
Yeah.
Cannoneers. So I want to just kind of inch it a little bit closer.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, we've
And then
noticed
it'll
these
start
like
to break through.
small little stat nudges a lot of the time can really like push the item back
Yeah.
into viability. So
Yeah.
Isn't this the
Trying
one where it does
It's crazy how
damage
true
to
that
like
is, too, how
structures or
sometimes you're
something?
like,
Increases
we have
damage
to
to
take this item
structures.
and redefine its existence, and then it's good. And sometimes you're like, we'll give this 1% attack speed and 10 health, and it's like the meta item all of a sudden.
Eventually, someone's going to try it. Call up genetics, call it PBM. Someone's going to do it, and it's going to catch on. And
Yeah.
then it's going to be super OP.
Yeah, it'll be like 11-5. It'll be we nerf it into the earth because people were like, wait a minute, this item is cracked.
It's very exciting because it does have that extra gold spooling, and it's got
Yeah.
extra clear potential too. So some low clear supports can do it. We've even seen a little bit of experimentation in other lanes, which
Yeah.
you're losing that gold aspect, but maybe the clear is what's valuable to them.
Yeah.
But either way, it's getting there. It's close.
It's getting there.
I can feel it. It's close.
Where the adjustments are close. So next up, the hammer, the Blackthorn hammer.
I'm excited for this one.
Yes.
Oh, excited? All right, well, get into it.
Well, so I mean, I'm a
So
huge
this
fan
is
of the
pretty much a
hybrid
revert
items. I'm,
because
like,
originally
really
it was
happy
at
to see this one
300
kinda
health
coming back
before they
into
nerfed
play.
it, right?
You might have more thoughts on like kind of where we like how we found these numbers. But generally speaking, I think we wanted people to be able to afford it a little bit easier and kind of nudging up that health again, same in line with how just nudging stats a little bit can kind of bring an item into viability. I think
Yeah.
combining that with the gold reduction really helps find it into that better slot.
Yeah, I mean, who isn't excited about more for less, regardless of what it is? But item store is no different. You're like, I need these stats, and I can get them for a little bit less. Let's go. I'm buying a hammer.
Yeah, I
So-
mean, it was a lot of comparisons to the other hammers, right?
Yeah.
Because when Blackthorn was last in the game, the environment it was in was very different. I mean, Runeforge was not the
true.
same. Frostbound was not the same. There's a lot of comparisons in that. Dawnbringer didn't.
She
exist.
makes a good point,
So
and that's
there's-
why I
there's
do not
a
understand
few
why
differences
Nox
that
and
this hammer's
Zeus
fallen
still
into.
have
So
that
one thing we wanted to do is,
arena-only
okay, what does
debuff
this
on
passive
them.
do
I
compared
don't
to the
think
other ones?
I think those
Is that
arena-only
equal
debuffs need to
gold
go away,
value?
dude.
No,
They made
not
sense
quite,
way
not-
back
not the
when they
same.
did
So we
it.
wanted to make sure
Was
that
it season
was,
9? I think they did it.
Adequate gold
They need to
cost,
take
and we
that
also
crap
did a
out,
shift to
dude.
its stats previously because it had power and health.
Yeah.
And we wanted to put a little more
Today's
power
Smite
into it
1
and
is
take
not
away some of that
season
health.
9
But we have
Smite
seen that
1, you know what
taking
I'm
away
saying?
a bit of that health has kind of made it a little bit less viable
Yeah.
in that regard because you just don't get the defenses that you really need. So we wanted to give it just a smidge more health and take down that price to a place that we thought that it was good for.
Awesome. Well, we've made it to the final item of the item section of balance, and that's Titan's Bane.
Yeah, so this one might be surprising to some folks, and that's
Okay.
totally understandable.
Surprise me.
The reason that this is showing up is because in our data,
Oh,
we have seen that a
no,
lot
this
of
is
the
actually a
late
pretty
game
juicy
damage
buff here.
mobility-based characters, specifically
They increase the
assassins, a lot of the
physical
time,
attack power by
off
5,
mostly against tanks.
and they
Tanks
decrease
are
the cooldown, the
doing-
passive,
are
by
getting
1
dealt
second.
a lot of the damage from
Dude,
parries
that
and
is
from
pretty
mages,
strong.
Yeah.
and
That
it's
is
a lot
really
less
strong.
of the assassins doing it. So we want to make sure that the late game payoff for these assassins, especially the ones that are either
Wow.
full commit and need to just get as much damage in one go, or
Yeah.
I mean, it's
both
not
assassins,
life-changing,
either
but
way,
it's definitely
both
a
of them
pretty
are kind
nice
of suffering
buff.
in that ultra late game, and this is kind of the premier 6 item slot.
Okay, got it. Well, that makes sense. Especially, I have limited experience in the assassin
gonna be
world,
really,
but
really good
you
for
want to be
any,
able to. You're like, all right, I'm about to play Gray
special
Screen
attack
Simulator,
base
but I want to do something
god.
before I get there with this dive. So having something to more reliably do that sounds good. So now we're into the God section. We got some
Oh,
God
here we
changes
go,
to talk
man.
about.
Here
And
we
we're
go.
going to start off in the world of nerfs. Starting with Athena, one of the scariest global presence havers of all the gods, I'd say. So what's being
Defender
nerfed
of
about
Olympus.
Yeah,
Increase the
speaking of
damage
global presence,
mitigation from
that's what we're
20%
nerfing.
to...
Athena? There it is.
Not the cooldown or frequency of it per se, but the effectiveness.
Dude, they
of it.
need to
So
nerf
she
the
is going to
freaking range
remain
of her
at
damn
20% at
taunt.
max
That's what they
rank,
need to do.
But her early game strength is going down, so we're going to be starting her at 10% damage mitigation and 10% movement speed. That also counts for herself.
Yeah.
And then ranking it up as she goes forward into the game. So this should really help those early game rotations of her going across the map feel a little bit less scary. And even in other game modes where she kind of just has like this free back to base and get in there button.
Yeah.
Not quite as terrifying.
This is not really that much of an
You can
impact
deal with
for
it a
Arena,
little
to tell
more.
you the
Late game, you
truth.
still have to know what you're doing, but early game, you have a little more leniency.
We've also noticed with a lot of characters when you have like a base stat that's present at all ranks, sometimes just kind of smoothing it out over the ranks makes it a little bit easier to balance relative to some of the other things in the game.
Got it. Yeah, I mean, it gives you a progression, the scale to work with. So instead of like it's all or nothing with this, like you said, it's a little smoother of a
Inch you forward,
curve, and yeah. All right, well, cool. So next up, Maman Brigitte. I feel like Maman has been a very loud addition to the battleground. Like
Oh, and more
came,
ways than
Increase
one.
base
yeah,
cooldown
came,
from
hit hard, and
2
has continued
seconds.
to be a presence. So what
Here it
nerfs
sees
are on the
decrease
docket?
initial
for her?
So
hit damage
Maman
scaling from
Brigitte has
15 to
continued
10%.
to not necessarily have the performance of a character that we'd be, typically nerfing.
2 second
Yeah.
nerf,
She's
dude.
definitely
That's
the
significant.
presence
Oof.
in community feedback, which is something that we
Impact.
want to really focus on. Is that
Okay.
the frustration factor is definitely something that we are keeping in mind.
That's
She's pretty
So
strong
one of
if
the
you know how
things
to
that we've
use her,
seen
dude.
In terms of the frustration has been party trick, how it feels like it's up basically all the time if she's able to get that stun going.
Yeah.
So we are increasing the base cooldown only. So this is only if you completely empty out your rum
Yeah.
and you drink it all, you stun, it will be on an 8-second cooldown versus a 6-second cooldown that it was before. And then Spirit Seize is another one of those abilities that's like she's jumping in. Get it off.
Yeah, what can I do?
So we're just taking that damage down a little bit more to make sure that when she hops in, it's more of she needs to do more than just do that to finish someone off.
Yeah.
She's got to continue to combo alongside it to make it really worthwhile.
On the receiving end, it should feel a little bit more fair.
Yeah, a little easier to play around instead of being like, oh, that's in me, I'm dead now. So, cool. So next up, the Loudbird. Thoth getting a little bit of a nerf, which I'm fine with because Thoth is one of those people that I've never been good at
man,
playing,
this is a
and I've always been good at
surprise.
dying to. So, well, what's going on with the nerfs?
He's kind of like the classic artillery mage, right? Where he is able to
Yeah.
sit pretty far away. He's kind
5%
of safe.
nerf.
He doesn't have any CC immunity,
got a
but
cool
On his
he's got a lot
ult.
of damage, right? So
Has a lot
his
of damage.
CC immunity is just making sure that you are dead, and
Yeah.
then he doesn't have to worry about it, right? So instead of that, what we are doing is we are kind of trying to take down Thoth for those higher level players that are hitting a lot of their shots.
Okay.
So this is going to be a pretty significant nerf to Hieroglyphic Assault, where he would get extra damage on subsequent.
Hey man,
moves,
I don't
where for
like
a
it
lot
when
of
they mess with
characters,
Thoth
it was-
or
it's decreasing for him,
Janus's
it was
ults,
opposite,
dude, because
right?
they're
So
already
he's
starting to
getting
get
that
too
taken
watered
just a
down,
bit,
man.
Okay.
Because we know
And
that
that's
that
what
is something
makes
that
them, right?
contributes to a
Those
lot of his
snipes is
gameplay,
what
whether
makes
that's
them
his
fun to
clear,
play.
his
Yeah.
poke. It's going to affect a lot of different facets. And then the other thing we're doing is taking Final Judgment down. Those people that are accurate with it, I mean, that hurts real bad when you get hit with that straight in the noggin. Yeah, not a good feeling. So you still have a lot of scaling. I mean, 120% is quite a lot.
That is, I mean, that is a
But-
lot.
Yeah, but
Their
still, it's
characters
not
are,
125,
like, at
right?
that average level, right? They're pretty fair, but then with that variance, they can kind of like push that ceiling a little bit too far. So that's kind of what we're trying to do is like reel that back in.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, make it a little more. That makes perfect sense to me. So moving down the line, we're still kind of in the animal world, but we're on the newer side of gods with Bake Kujira. So made a splash on the battleground, I'd say, and
you could say that.
Rough water.
I
Shit
did say it
stacks.
too, but so needs a little bit of touch up though. What are the nerfs coming in?
Yeah, there's a lot of changes here, and so
Yeah,
some of this is going to be a
there
little
are.
bit confusing. I
Ooh,
understand.
wow.
So we're going to take it nice
Yeah,
and easy
those are
here.
some
First up,
pretty good
rough waters is this
nerfs
one.
right there for protections.
So we are shifting these stacks. So essentially, what would happen
Okay.
is
Yeah, 'cause
when you
that dude's,
activate this
like,
ability,
impossible
if
to
you
bring
hit
down, dude.
enemies, you get protections.
Got it.
And there were a lot of stacks of this, right? So a 6, which is 1 minion wave up to 10, instead of just bringing it down to 6, which would take the procs down by quite a lot, we're taking it to 8 at all ranks. So he still has to hit more minions to actually get the full protections
the
at
full
level
protection.
1, which is going to impact his rank 1 of that pretty frequently, which
Yeah.
laning phase is where you have rank 1. So that's kind of a 1 pointer for that. The next thing that we're doing is decreasing the protections by 1 at all
Okay.
ranks as well. So at rank 1, you're getting 8 of each. So again, not too scary
Not too crazy.
compared to what it would have been before, which is 12. So that's going down by 4 in that early game again, which is going to be really helpful for that super.
But I
impressive
mean, in
laning
all
phase that we've
fairness,
been
dude,
seeing.
that dude,
Yeah.
he's just like
But
out
that's
there
for the
like.
one. Moving on, let's talk about Sonic Wave. This is
Okay.
two.
Next
If
ability.
you don't have a strong team
You're right,
backing
that
you,
was
dude,
confusing.
you-
Follow the
that guy
patch
sucks.
If you're like me and you're like, I grasp half of that, my brain is spaghetti. Patch Notes has it all written out.
It'll help
You're
out a lot.
explaining well. I just have the mind of a goldfish.
Yes.
And you're talking about a whale, so Sonic
It
Wave.
works together, but yeah, Sonic Wave is his second ability.
All right.
This is the cone that does damage. It's just going to do a little bit less damage in all ranks, but again, early game, 10 less damage. It's on a relatively low cooldown. It's going to help out pretty frequently.
I got that one. All
Just
right.
turn
let's keep
across the
going.
board.
Finally, the ultimate. We're shifting the damage increase debuff. So this is when you're sitting close to him.
Yeah,
So you're not in
that inner
the
circle.
tie-dye.
Wow,
You're
dude,
right
they
in the
beat
center.
the hell out
So
of
the
this guy with a
damage is
nerf
getting
bat.
increased by
Holy
1%
crap.
in the early game. And this is more so to make sure that, you know, when you are able to go to the late game, that it
Yeah.
can get taken down. So instead of 5 to 15%, which is 15% increased damage is a lot.
It's a lot.
It's
yeah.
a lot. It can be 10% in the late game. So
Okay.
instead of 5 to 15, it's 6 to 10. So late game, not going to be as impactful. Early game, just
Just a little more.
Just much more. But there's the reason for that is so that we can fully compensate for bringing the high end lower.
Yeah.
Bro,
I mean,
I
that
can
makes
already
sense.
see
So
those-
That is why I respect y'all
those
so much. Y'all are over here,
those
like,
well
talking all
players
these
right now,
numbers,
you know
you're
what they're
like, this
doing,
is the
right?
early
You know
game,
what
the
they're
high- the
doing.
late game, but I'm over here like.
That's what they're doing
guys
right
are
now.
Impressive. Y'all are
That's the
crazy,
well players
so
right now.
Y'all just great work, y'all.
Are you
doing.
crying?
Look at that
Are
on the
you
patch
crying?
notes. The whale is less scary.
There's no crying.
All right,
There's
we're gonna
no
keep
crying
moving.
in
My brain is just,
Smite.
like, there's smoke coming out of my ears. So our boy Cuckoo is up next on the docket. The slippery snake and slipstream itself getting a little twist, a little adjust.
No.
So I did a change to this one relatively recently where
Yeah.
he gets full slow immunity in this ability. And then we realized, oh wait,
Oh,
hell this ability is fully slow immune. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Come on,
Very strong.
dude.
So
Cuckoo's
even
like the
though,
OG.
he gets
Why are you gonna
decreased
mess
movement
with
speed over
him?
time, that initial burst of movement speed is what people usually feel the most. And
Such
80%
BS, dude.
at max
Such
rank
BS.
is a lot.
That boy's
That's a lot of
zooming.
movement speed. He's zooming. So we are taking down all ranks by 10%, which is going to help out a lot. But we're also increasing the cooldown
Come on,
towards that
dude.
max level as well. So it's still
Okay.
going to stay at 15 at rank 1.
Got
But
it.
instead of going 15 to 11, it's going 15 to 13.
Cool. That makes sense.
Oh man, that sucks.
So next up is Hachi. What is Hachi's getting Heavenly Banner and Mounted Archery, both slight adjustments, looks like.
Yeah, so he's just a very safe character, right?
They
He's
just
Mr.
had to
Jack
screw
of
with
all
my-
trades,
my
just kinda does
Cuckoo, man.
everything
Yep.
pretty
Yeah.
well. So in general, we want to make sure that it's clear. Just goes down by a hair. I know 1 second seems like it's not that much, but believe me,
It makes
the
sense.
amount of time that you use this ability during the game that you're just gonna have it 1 second less, and you're gonna go, man, I wish I had it this
I
point.
just had it 1 second.
Well,
earlier.
just and keep in
Well,
mind
that's
too,
why
it's
he was
you
doing pretty
know,
well, as he was
Yeah.
having this up. And
it's
mounted archery
14
again, is that
seconds, but then when
really
you start
big
adding,
piece
you
of
know,
safety
40%
that
cooldown
makes him so
reduction,
good
you know,
at
brings it
not
down to
being
like what,
gankable,
6,
which is
7
really
seconds,
the thing
right?
that is very important as a hunter.
Yeah.
Is if you avoid ganks as a hunter and you just play to live and you farm up, you're doing your job.
Yeah,
right?
you're doing
so
fine.
He's getting that ability to run away very frequently. So we're taking that back just a hair to make sure he still has it, just not as much. A little bit more opportunity.
Yeah,
for
10
ganks.
seconds is
Yeah,
significant.
nothing like
dude.
coming to
You're gonna
lane
feel
trying to
that.
gank, and he's like, "That's cool, it's a nice gank, but I have a horse, and
Yeah.
it's thrown over." And you know, as
You
we
don't have a horse.
yeah,
I mean,
as we continue to go through this too, I just to highlight what you said earlier, Chaos. It's the 1 second adjustments. It's the 1% adjustments that you're like, oh, they changed it 1%. That's or 1 second. That's not. But it's crazy how much of a difference that makes, and it's always fun to highlight how specific these changes can be sometimes, because it's just cool. So staying in the hunter subcategory here, we have On Her coming up next.
yeah, Honor's like a close second to Hachiman.
Yeah.
Again, very safe.
Ooh,
Especially
got the
with
shifting
the recent
sands.
buff, the
They
shifting
decrease
sands. So we are
everything
just
5
going to
across the
revert
board.
One of those buffs, which
Yeah.
was to
The
increase
slow.
the slow from
Dude,
it was
40%
15
slow was
to 35, and now
ridiculous.
it's returning back to 15 to 35
Okay.
from where it was before. It just it was very, very potent at zoning, especially in the lane. You typically level the second, so
Yeah.
having that extra even
'Cause
$5% in the early game, especially
and it
combined with
lasts
like,
a
the
long
horrifics
time,
that are
too.
really
You're, like,
strong, and
spreading
the
through
proximity
that
wards,
crap.
it was just a lot of slow, right? There's a lot of area control and CC in a way that you wouldn't really expect it
Yeah.
to be powerful, but it definitely was very powerful.
In that vein of making characters again feel more fair, I think this is an adjustment that gets them, more into that position. Where you
Yeah.
a
Hey,
little bit
I don't
more
know if y'all
fair
get
box
mad or
fights.
not, but I
Yeah,
agree with
instead
that
of
one.
being
That
like,
was a good
enemy on
nerf right
whore,
there.
I'm not trading during this laning phase. I just have to. I'm gonna sit my tower.
35% is fair.
So all right, cool. So Charon is up next with Damnation getting a little touch up.
Yeah, Charon has been quite the enigma lately. We've been seeing him in places I was
Enigma's
not
good.
expecting
Yeah.
to see him. A lot of mid.
Half a
which
percent
is
adds
very
up, man.
interesting. Go off, I guess.
Yeah. When you have a
but he-
boat, where can't you go? I guess.
But he's still getting a lot of that shielding off, and that typically tends to be the frustration factor for a lot of players. Is he's
Yeah.
getting a sneaky amount of shielding. So what we're doing is we're decreasing the amount of shield that he's getting based on his health. So
Okay.
typically he's built like the tiniest bit tanky if he's going mid.
Yeah.
But a lot of the times he's being built in support or even solo if people are kind of feeling it. So taking that health fragment down is going to do way, way, way more than any amount of base shielding would do.
Yeah, for sure. Well, cool. And last but not least, in the God nerfs area is Vamana and Big Baby's getting a little.
Ooh,
little
again?
That's
They're
busted.
nerfing this dude
Yeah.
again?
It's very tough for him
wow.
because he went from being unplayable, worst god in the
Holy
game,
crap,
to
they
suddenly
decreased his
being,
power
oh my
late
god,
game from
he's so good
75
again. Every
to
single match, have to
45.
ban him.
Yeah.
His
Decreased
ban
his
rate
lifesteal
between
from
10, 13, and
3.7
11-1
to
is like,
Holy
I don't even know how to
crap.
describe it. It's like literally the chart is like a straight diagonal line.
It's a stonks meme, dude. It's just there it goes.
It's funny. You can see how much those small nudges matter. Right? 'Cause,
Yeah.
just, like doing something like that just instantly boosts. them up.
Yeah, it went from like
Dude.
garbage bottom tier whatever to like
Yeah,
lock
that's
this or
a big
ban this
nerf
or
right
you're
there,
done.
dude.
So
That is a
so
huge
here's the thing.
nerf.
We could have just reverted him, right? We probably would have had him back to the spot where he was before.
yeah,
But we wanted to make sure that this alt was still feeling
You know
like
what?
the
I haven't
duration
seen him,
was really still fun, right? Because that's the
that
core. is
much
you
in
get to go
arena of
big baby
late, to
mode
tell you
and
the
Yeah,
jump
truth.
around
Then
and
again, I
all
really
that.
haven't
It's
been
always
playing
been
that much
And
either.
we wanted to make sure you still had that time to do those things. The problem is that it just gives you a lot of free stats when you
It
when you
does.
ult. So what we're doing is we're taking the power down by a very, very big chunk in the late game.
Yeah,
because that
that's
tends to be when it gets
freaking
online. I mean,
enormous, dude. From
75
75 to
after the power
45,
nerfs that we
holy
did
crap.
come mid-season last year.
Yeah, he did need a good nerf. I
not
agree.
enough.
big amount of power.
Every time he started going with that,
Big
Also, we just adjusted his lifesteal.
Dude, he
on
used to
top
get
of
on my
that,
nerves, son.
Up to 35.
You can't get away from him. Once he starts
37.5%,
papping
but
you.
now it's going back down to 30 because it is a lot of lifesteal.
Yeah.
Especially on gods, which is how you get more movement speed. So if you're hitting gods, you're lifestealing, you're going faster, you have a lot of power. It's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it's
So we're
it's
trying to
a
take that
perfect
back a little
storm.
bit.
So
Exactly.
well, cool. Glad to know that I can be stepped on a few more times before having to skulk back to base. Well, that does it for the God nerfs. Now, of course, we have the God buffs. We have who's on the docket to get a little stronger. Kicking it off with Hades, our dude from the underworld.
Yeah, so you would have thought,
Hades.
oh, lifesteal just got a big change to it. Hades is going to be good.
Yeah, he's on top.
What?
No, I don't know how
I
this
did a
happened, but he was not
10%?
doing very well.
He showed up late.
Say
for the
what?
lifesteal meeting. Yeah, just,
Yeah, I mean, as it turns out, lifestealing against gods, when someone stands still in ults, tends to be pretty easy to hit those things.
yeah,
So
fair.
Hades just needs a little bit of extra help in doing damage back. So
Nice.
he's getting a 10% protection debuff on top of the protection debuff he already has, and this
So he gets
applies if
shred-
they
this is
are
for his
blighted
Pillar of
already.
Agony. That's
So if
his
you blight
ult, right?
someone, then you ult someone, they get debuffed. So this is just adding on top of the flat reduction. Now there's a % reduction.
Wow.
I think this just increases his utility, right? Because in any role.
I mean, think about it. If somebody has
doing
max-
it solo, doing it mid,
max
wherever you wanna
protection
land,
is late game.
it's always
You know what I'm
relevant to
saying?
have
That's
that
like
third
30
reduction, so I
something
think that also
reduction.
increases viability in different roles.
That's pretty
That's kinda
big.
what we're aiming for.
32.5.
Yeah, help try to
per.
give them the chance to diversify while still feeling useful in each of those different areas. I'm
That's
all
gonna
about
put
it.
him under
I love seeing people
200
tech things into
under
places
300
where you're like,
protection.
that's wouldn't have guessed that you could do that there, but I'm losing, so good job. So next up, Hebo, the splashy boy.
Yeah, so this is another kind of symptom of a couple of different things that we changed.
Yeah.
He
in
did
the-
not
the
need no
last
buff,
patch, which
man.
was,
Hebo did
number
not
one,
need no buff.
Wrathful Bow is gone, which means he's getting a little bit less cooldown. Number
That's
two,
true.
class
Increases
passes are gone,
damage
so he's
to
missing a lot of that
minions.
power in the
Okay,
early
to
game.
minions.
So this was really
okay.
focused around his early game and his farm
Okay,
potential, not
okay,
really
to
his fighting
minions.
potential. So what
I was
you see
gonna
here
say,
is that
man,
we
I
did
was
two
gonna
buffs to Water
say.
Cannon,
Okay.
which is his main clearing ability. The damage to minions is increased by 5%, which is still pretty significant considering that's pretty high damaging ability.
That is, yeah.
And then on top of it, he's just getting a slight mana cost reduction as it goes up as well. So because you're probably leveling this first, I would imagine, you're going to be using that cooldown a lot because it's a 4-second cooldown.
Yeah,
It comes up very
all the time.
frequently. And so spending 80 mana every single time you're using it was just draining the mana real fast.
Yeah.
So I wanted to bring that down, just make it a little bit easier for him to clear and to feel like he had that chance to actually get to his items and not worry so much about the mana.
That makes sense. I mean, hey, like you said, with all of the crazy changes that came with 11.1, like a new year's
not
worth
so
of
bad,
update,
dude. It's-
not surprising that the water guy suffered from the
If
ripples.
anything, if
So,
anybody wants to use the stack
next up,
items with them,
we
it's
have
going to help
Hu
them
Yi.
out.
So this is a very interesting character to talk about because you would think he'd be very strong in a crit meta because his passive
Nah.
is you can't crit
You're not
me.
even
Yeah.
going to feel that in arena.
But he just is
Very
able to
few
keep up in
people
terms of
actually
clear. And
ricochet
it's actually
arrows in arena.
Very
This
interesting to
this
buff
all
ricochet
for
because it has a lot of implications.
lane type
If you go up
modes.
to base damage, you start to get into the double and the triple bounces.
Although
you know
I
people
like
start to
trying it.
memorize,
You
and
know
those
I like
really,
trying
really
it when I
skilled
play 'em.
Players can take advantage of that a lot
You
more
know
than
I'll be
people that are just
ricocheting my butt
single
off,
bouncing all the
boy.
time.
Yeah.
So we want to be very careful bringing this up. So
I'll
we
be
are
getting
taking
my Robin Hood
5
on.
base damage, and that may not look like a lot, but the amount of times that you're using
Yeah,
it,
nobody's
on
gonna
top
feel
of the
that,
fact
dude.
that you
Five-
can double,
five
triple
ain't nothing.
bounce,
Yeah,
it adds
it's
up over
multiplicative,
time.
and
Yeah.
then, well, cool. That makes sense. Yeah,
little
for
more
you
clear.
double, triple bouncers out there, like you'll feel it. So Jing Qian up next.
This is a
Our-
huge buff. I'm
our
not gonna lie
spinny
to you.
stompy man.
This one might be the
Murder boy.
most or second most. It's hard to say because there's still some exciting stuff coming up.
Decrease
after
the
this, but
cooldown of his
Xing Qian
hook
is getting Very
slam.
big buffs here.
Oh,
First up,
heck yeah,
pushing
boy.
Chen, not been
My
seen for a
boy's
while.
going to be
We've given
nasty.
him
My
a
boy's
lot
going to be
of
like,
buffs, especially
Is
with his
Sparta! Oh, with that hook slam, baby.
So
He's going to
first
get
up,
him with
here
that
is
hook
Roar.
slam.
This is essentially
2 seconds
kind of your
is
anti-basic
huge, man.
attacker
2
tool that you
seconds
see him
is
use a lot
huge.
in support to kind of stop the enemy ADC from clearing. We're actually shifting
Nice.
how soon you get this damage reduction in the early game. So you're starting
Very
at 30%,
nice.
which is actually very, very impactful.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's
It
my
does still go up
that's
to
my
50%,
favorite
which,
guardian.
if
That's
you're
my favorite
canceling
guardian
out
of all times, man.
50% of an auto attacker's damage in the late game, quite a lot.
Yeah.
So starting it even closer to that number in the early game from level 1 is going to feel really, really nice.
That is cool.
But that's not even the craziest thing.
Dude,
because
that hook slam is going to be
is getting a
nasty,
decrease
son.
in cooldown
It's going to
from
come
14
2
at all
seconds
ranks
faster.
to 14 down to 12.
Very
which is
nice,
gonna
very
feel really
nice.
Yeah, that's 2 whole seconds off at the end of the game there for one of the bread and
In arena,
butters,
that's a
so
lifetime,
That'll
dude.
be fun.
Yeah.
That'll be fun. I'm excited about that. So Cerberus up next, the goodest boy.
What?
Yeah, this is another one that kind of surprised me that he wasn't doing too
So
hot because
explosive,
again
new
with
effect.
healing
A
and lifesteal
new
changes,
effect.
you would think that
Killing
Cerb would be doing
God
well just due to his
so
passive
grants
Yeah,
2
ability
seconds
to keep up
reduction
with all of that,
cooldown
but
on
not the case here.
soul.
This is actually a very cool new
Explosion.
effect
This is
that Cerberus
very
is going
cool.
to be getting on Soul Expulsion, which is his leap. So when he leaps onto enemies, they spawn little souls, right? When you spawn onto a god,
nice.
they spawn god souls.
Very
so
nice.
now, when you kill a god soul specifically, you
So
get
his-
a 2
his
second
escape.
cooldown reduction on your leap. So if you leap on a lot of people and you munch down their souls, have your teammates munch the souls, whatever it might be,
Yeah.
Dude,
and they
that
die,
is
you get a
huge.
2 second
That's freaking
cooldown off
huge.
of your 3, no matter how many souls that there are. So if you jump on 5 people, you can get 10 seconds off. It's
wow.
crazy.
Woof even. 'cause
What?
That's
Well
cool.
done, but
Yeah.
maybe it'll happen.
Dude, that
No,
is
it's-
gigantic.
It'll happen. If
And
I
he
see
needed
like
it, dude.
somebody
That's like
tweet
a,
clip
it's
of
like
that,
what, a
I'm
12
going
second,
ham,
12 to
dude.
Okay, but
14
in a
second
game-
cooldown,
in a
that
game.
thing?
Yeah, in a
That's
game.
fair.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, you can't get your friends to 5 stack in a custom. Like naturally in the world, you're playing your
Dude, that
your
is-
ranked, your,
that's
you know,
freaking
ranked
awesome.
queue, and that's how you win the game. Is you just leap like 2 times back to back because you got that cooldown. Bro, I'm hyping you up. I'm your hype man for that day. So, all right, well that's cool. And Zhong Kui is up next.
Yeah, do we have people that love Zhong Kui in this room?
What? Oh, his basic
So,
attack speed.
Zhong
Demon
Kui
bag.
is another character that kind of
Decrease the
can
max stacks
turn
from
into that
40 to
lifesteal route if he
30.
wants to,
Yeah.
but essentially
Increase
we're just giving him a
protections
little
per
bit of
stack
extra,
by
quality of life
0.4.
style changes here with attack speed.
Dude,
in his
Zhong
base
Kui does
going
not
up a
need
bit,
any
which is
buffs, dude.
really
He's
nice
strong
with
as
the
crap
auto
already as is,
alongside
man.
your demon bag, your little scroll buddy.
Yeah.
It's also going to be auto attacking
The scroll
faster.
buddy.
And then demon bag, his passive is also going down in stacks, but his protections per stack are going up. So kind of similar to previous changes, he's getting more value for less
For less,
stacks.
yeah.
Yep. So get it
Yeah.
sooner, a couple waves sooner, honestly, which is going to be really
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it's
I
huge.
don't
Dude,
think a lot
and
of people
he's
realize
kinda
just, like,
beefy,
how
too,
important
so-
the auto attacks are for his kit because a big part of
That's
his
gonna be
combo, right, is
interesting.
he's stunning people.
He's
and then
already
just kinda, like,
beefy.
chaining those autos,
Yeah.
especially because we made it so you have the double auto like anytime now. So I think this is like a change that really like pushes that cool part of him that like otherwise maybe was just like a bit of the back burner. I think it brings it more into the spotlight.
Yeah.
And then yeah, with the passive. change. I think that definitely makes it a lot more consistent again, especially late game.
Of course.
When if you die and you lose a stacks or whatever, right? Then
Yeah,
it back is a
bring it back up a little easier.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. And like you said, it's cool taking one of those mechanics that you really want to be a spotlight mechanic, but maybe wasn't operating as one, and giving it the power to become like a marquee mechanic.
Yeah.
So that's really, really cool. So next up, we're entering the danger zone. We have Kali, and Kali can be scary to me.
Kali.
So
She definitely can. She
Yeah.
fell off a
Her
lot
instant-
to when
she
she
did.
was
Increase the
super meta,
cooldown from
I'll
50.
give her
Nah,
in the middle of last year. I
we're
wanna
not
say
gonna
was,
feel
like, the
that,
last
dude.
time we
That's
saw
not a.
her.
I have no idea.
That's like whatever.
It blows my mind how fast time goes.
Yeah.
But you know what doesn't blow my mind is that 1 second off of incense is going to help her a little bit. Not too much, but it's
Yeah.
going to be just
Nah.
enough to really feel that extra bit of control that you have as the Kali player
Yeah.
to make some more plays.
I don't think
Yeah,
we're
just
gonna
to
feel
get
that.
more
Tell you the
done.
truth.
So
And those small nudges, right?
yeah, and like you said, it's the small
Small
nudges,
nudges.
dude. That's the craziest thing about balance to me is like from the outside. Obviously, I've talked to y'all a lot. I've hung out. I've seen some of the process, but from the outside looking in, especially having gamed a lot before I joined the company and got to meet all of y'all, being like, how is it that you come up with the idea of changing something 1% or for 1 second? That's just, it seems so small to do that over and over again to refine things like that. It just, it always boggles my mind,
There
So
are some gods where you need to like change the impression of the community or the player base to really like get them to try a new god, but there are some that are just underperforming and need a little bit of help, but they are already popular. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Dude,
for
you
those
got those
characters,
guys that have been playing the
smaller
same damn
stuff
gods for the
works
last
where
10
they
years.
just need to
Have
a
like
little bit extra help
14,000 stars
stat-wise,
on it.
and some of them need a lot more help, like portion.
And they want to talk trash to somebody else playing a
Examples.
different god, right?
You
That they've
come
never
here, you
played.
learn- you
Those are
learn
the
what's
ones. Those are
changing
the
and you
trolls
learn
that crack
the
me
thought
up. Dude.
process. That is like, it's so cool to me. Like, yeah, I know I work here, but I don't always get to talk about this stuff. So I'm just going on a trip here. Thank y'all for coming with me. So like I said, it's Valentine's Day. I got to talk to the people I love about the stuff I love. So let's keep it going. I'll stop soapboxing. We got Horace up next. Our boy needs a little love. I know.
Ooh.
So Horus is a very
Increased
interesting
base
piece because
health
he's a
from-
warrior most often played in support. And he
Yeah.
really is,
Self-respect.
designed to play in that role. But
Oh,
sometimes he'll
wow,
shift into
dude,
solo.
that's,
I've seen a couple of Horus mids
that's
from time
pretty
to time, but
significant for
when it
Horus,
comes to
dude.
comparing Horus versus the people that he's typically laning against, he doesn't stack up in terms of his health. We
Yeah.
noticed that he is kind of like
Wow.
middle of the road, kind of higher end in terms of warriors, but it's just nowhere close to guardians. So what we decided to do is to push him up a little bit closer to guardians, especially in the HP per level.
Yeah.
So he's getting a lot of extra HP per level and a little bit extra in the early game. So as he's getting
But
towards
he
that
has
late
a
game, he's
heal,
gonna have
though.
a lot more
That's-
extra
I
help
mean-
when it comes to his just base
And
health pool
ridiculous
that he's
chain
gonna be working
stuns.
with before items.
So that kind of it's like
On
helps
top of
you.
that, Resolute is
get-
his
when you
passive.
get
A lot
that
of
more
people don't
health
even
on top
realize
of that,
this
that's gonna
heals
be-
you once your passive stacks
That's
wear
gonna be
off.
pretty
And
nice.
so this number was actually very, very small previously because it was only 1 as a base. You were healing for 1 plus a certain amount per level
Yeah.
per stack on your passive. And so it just really, it was not very much. It was like
Negligible.
Yeah.
10
very-
health.
very
you know?
Who
tiny.
plays,
And I'm like, healing 10 health
plays
in
Horus?
this economy? No.
In this economy?
That's not how it's going to be anymore. He's going to be
Who's the
healing
hell
a
plays
base of 4
Horus?
per stack plus 0.8 per level, and all of this is
that
per
Took?
stack as well.
Was it
So if
Took
you have
that
a lot of
plays
stacks,
Horus?
he's been getting hit a
I
lot.
think it was either Took or Ice,
or
one of
hit by
you
set
two.
a lot specifically.
Somebody was
Yeah.
playing
Then
Horus.
you'll be
They'll be
healing quite
happy.
a lot more, which is going to feel very, very nice for him to have that extra bit of sustain for himself personally,
Yeah.
not for the rest of his team.
Yeah, not for everybody else around him. Cool. So next up, the buff boy. We have Hercules.
Yeah, so you would have thought Hercules
Oh,
would have been
hell
really loving
no.
a lot of the
Oh,
Yeah.
hell
kind
no.
of
Where's
shifts
my
that
oh,
we've
hell
been
no?
coming into.
Oh,
hell
hell
He just
no.
hasn't really kept up, and a lot of that is due to how he kind of falls off
No.
towards the late game. He
Oh,
is
hell no.
very challenging
the crap?
in terms of positioning because a lot of
Yeah.
people have gotten used to how to play around this character. This
No,
character's 10
dude,
plus years
no.
old at this point.
Yeah.
He
Hercules
has the
did
bread
not
and butter
need no
combo,
damn buff,
right?
dude.
And so a lot of times players will beads it or they
No.
juke it. So we want to make sure that in the late game, when you're hitting these are feeling nice and rewarding.
Yeah.
So the late game base damage is going up. The rest of it is kind of following along suit, but early game is
Okay.
going to stay exactly the same.
Got it. That was definitely one of those. Like you said, been out for 10 years.
I don't
as
agree
was
with
learning
that
to
one,
play,
dude.
the big
Hercules, if
brain
anything,
moment
needed
of,
to be
like,
nerfed.
just bait out the stomp and
I
then
mean,
walk one
you
step
literally
forward
see
and you
people
don't get
standing
launched
in
at them
arena
anymore. I was like,
just taunt you as you're trying to
So,
unload on
it's
like
definitely-
4
yeah, you
people, and he's
definitely-
like,
you
yeah,
definitely time
whatever,
to
and
learn
just
around
walks
it.
off,
That's cool.
dude.
Nemesis is up
Nah.
next on the docket for the buff train.
Yeah, so Nemesis is another character that is kind of in and out of the meta.
Yeah.
It really
Oh,
depends
wow.
on who
Increase
is relevant
the shield
elsewhere.
from
But
420
as
to
a ranked character, she just kind of
450.
falls off quite a lot.
Okay.
Because
Divine
her
Judgment
ultimate
increases
is
movement
really
speed
team
from
dependent.
20.
And also she just has not
Uh,
had the most help in terms of her ability to kind of peel herself. She's
Dude,
got slow.
30?
That's like her whole
30
deal.
is pretty
She's got
big.
slows on slows on slows.
Yeah.
Holy
so
crap,
Retribution, her
early
shield,
game
is
it
going to
went
get
by
an increase in the
increased
shield
by
health,
50%.
just a hair, just
went
to give
from
her a little bit
100
more
to
health, especially
150.
towards the early
That's
game.
Well,
that's
Being able
huge.
survival.
to use the shield on a little bit more
Hercules
than
need a buff
just
about
inability if that happens
as
to be
much
the case.
as Shiva
And
did
then Divine
outright.
Judgment is her ultimate.
I agree with that.
This is a movement speed buff for
1000%.
herself. We're just smoothing out this
Dude,
kind of progression.
Nemesis
It was
early game
kind of this weird
with that
relic
retribution, that's going to be pretty significant. Uh-oh, what happened?
of previous balance where it was
Okay.
10,
Ooh.
10, 15, 15, 20. We're
It
just
started
moving
buffing there for a
it won't
second.
change at the ranks that it changed before, but the ranks where it was secondarily upgraded and you got nothing for it, you'll at least get a little bit of something.
Yeah, a nudge slightly higher.
Yeah.
You don't see
That
too many
makes sense. Hey, you
nemesis
gotta
in
love seeing
arena,
those
but when you
curves
do,
smoothed out
they're
a little bit, 'cause
either
like you said,
really,
it'll
really
make you feel a
good
little more like a
or really,
natural
really bad,
progression.
right?
Yeah, exactly.
But this is
Last
going
but
to be
not
pretty
least, we have
significant.
come to the final of the gods for buffs, and we have Chiron on here with a little giddy up.
Yeah, so Chiron's a very interesting god,
Increase
right?
the
Because
base
he has been
damage.
seeing an amount
Holy
of success
crap.
in mid, but
Yeah.
even beyond that, he
What?
isn't super
From 170 to
applicable a lot of different levels
195.
of play. It's
Holy
mostly just
crap.
for people that are willing to jump into the fray and be willing to kind of dive in. So a
Decrease
lot
the
of
mana
the people
cost,
that are playing
all
him now
ranks.
are trying to do him in Hunter, not super successful. over
So
the dual
early
lane.
game is
And
like,
the
meh,
stats are
but
suffering
late
because of
game
that.
is
This
like,
gonna be a
holy
small
crap.
buff in terms
Small
of the
buff.
actual damage of the charge itself. So, those players that do want to get active and get in there are going to be doing it a little bit better, right? A little
Yeah.
bit more damage if you're actually hitting things
Wow.
or you're clearing with it, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
A lot of times you aren't full committing though as the
Yeah,
Chiron and
you're not
actually
diving
running
in
over
as the
people.
hunter, yeah.
But when you do have to use this as an escape, it's going to be a lot nicer.
You know, a lot of people don't know when you use this attack, when you charge in, you can still use your bow,
Yeah,
and you're
that's
supposed to be
true.
using your bow, because that way you get double
So we're
damage.
just bringing that down to 70. But yeah,
A lot of people
he's the
just
character
charge.
that we're
They
gonna
don't
keep a
use their
close eye
basic
on,
attack when they
especially
charge.
alongside the Titan's Bane buffs, like those kind of go hand in hand. Chiron is can be an ability-based hunter as
For
well.
sure.
So we want to keep a close eye and make sure that he's not doing too well over in mid and just hunters in general, especially in that ability-based style.
Well, cool. And like that, we've talked about a lot of items and gods,
Yeah,
and
we
that
did.
we've come to the end of it. So again, as I
Okay.
love to say, we have
going with
the
it.
patch
Here
notes
comes the new
live, so
guy.
check those out if you missed anything, you need some clarity on something, because there are plenty of good changes, some really cool spicy changes, looking at you, Serb, all kinds of fun stuff. So make
Yeah,
sure
that
to check
Serb
those
one
out.
is that
we
Serb
have some
one
more
just
things to talk about before
dude,
we get
that's-
into
that's
talking about
awesome.
one of the gods that we're all excited to hear more about, featured in that cool art right there. We have the cross-gen pass to talk about. So for those of y'all who missed the first update show of the year, the 11.1 update show at Worlds, battle passes are now cross-gen passes. So cross-gen passes are a little shorter, a little easier to work through, but they're showing up every single update. You will see a new one of these with every update. That's once a month. That's like 12 a year. That's a lot of passes. And as the name would suggest, each cross-gen pass contains cross-gen content. So the skins in those passes you will have in Smite 2 if you
So
earn
does
them
that
in
mean
Smite
that
1. It's
the,
just how it works. And
we get a new
to
battle
continue
pass on
talking about
Tuesday
legacy
then?
gems, like I said earlier, cross-gen passes cost gems to get to those premium tracks, and the gems are going to go towards your legacy gem like stack for Smite 2. Or
So
Mountain
this
for
is
some
their
of
way
y'all
of
if you're
getting
like
you
me.
to use up all
So,
your gems before the
definitely
end of
worth
the year.
picking up, and there's all kinds
mean,
of crazy stuff.
they're
going
gonna
to
be
Not only
worthless
are there
anyway,
the
right?
skins, and again, if it's a cross-gen skin, it's a confirmation for a god in Smite 2. It's like a bunch of little teasers every time we do an update, which I love.
Interesting.
But there's also all kinds of cool stuff within the pass, such as a 50%
So if you
off
haven't
coupon
finished your
for a
battle
chest.
pass,
And
you
it's
got
not
until
a
Monday
chest,
night.
It's just any chest. You have 50% off.
Tuesday after
So
the patch goes
that
through, I
Hades
guess
skin
we're
that we
getting a new
talked about
battle pass.
earlier,
That's what
complete the
I'm
battles
hearing.
pass, get the 50% off coupon, roll that chest, and get the new Hades skin. So a lot of cool stuff in these passes, and you'll be seeing a new one every single update. So really exciting. So let's get into this particular update and start talking about the skins, kicking it off with Gleaming Archer Hu Yi.
Yo.
Off Purple Boy.
Yeah, he is. He is really purple.
He
but
is.
like purple is a cool
Avatar.
color, so like I'm down. You know.
Yeah.
I love purple.
Every time a purple skin shows up, I get to just come back here and be like, yeah, it's purple. It looks great. I'm a fan of it. So
Let's see what it looks
absolutely
like.
great looking.
Let's see
and,
what it looks
I
like.
mean, I'm gonna keep saying it. Hu Yi confirmed. Smite 2.
Ooh, okay. The lighting in the card art kind of didn't do the gold justice here, but I think that this gold
Kind
as
of
well
reminds
as
me of
top
like
it,
something out of
like
Halo.
Rose gold, would you say?
I agree. I'm a
Ooh,
big rose
I
gold
kind of
fan.
love
There's
this.
a
this
Halo-ish
combo,
look
but
to
yeah,
it.
that card art was sick, but this, I don't know, dude. This is very, very close to being just as sick.
I agree. And you want to see something else that's very sick? How about this in Smite 2? Let's check out the render.
Okay.
Oh,
The
I love the
lighting,
emissive.
dude.
Yeah.
Okay, that bowstring is really sick.
It is so
Bowstring
sick.
cool.
That's so cool. And even the arrows have a nice little glow to them too. I mean,
Yeah.
he just looks so modern.
Yeah,
you know
dude.
what I mean?
If
Like,
you
it
have
really
a new,
feels
if
like
you have a
character that
computer,
you'd
if
be
you're
playing
looking
in
to
some kind
upgrade
of,
your video card
crazy futuristic
by the end of the
game.
year,
I think
Yeah.
just the dynamic
do
range
not
is sick, right? Like, you see
get
how dark kind of the
an
foot is in the
NVIDIA
back compared to like how bright the
3000
bowstring
series
is.
or
Like,
lower.
I love
Get
that
you a
dynamic range.
I mean,
4000
again,
series or higher.
Since the early Smite 2 inception, when they were sending
Because
screenshots
the
to the
ray
company, you know, like,
tracing that they're
people-
going to be
it
using
wasn't-
going
it
forward
was
on
still
these
a work in
games
progress,
is
and they
going to
were
be
like,
awesome.
hey, here's just what On Her looks like or Shock looks like the base skins early on were already so incredible. To continue to see them flush out how the lighting's going to work and all this with every one of these renders,
Yeah, right.
like it's a roller coaster for every single one. And the roller coaster's not
Yeah.
quite done yet.
Dude,
We have
don't
one
buy
more
a
to show off,
3080
and
Ti.
that's
Get
Gleaming
a
Defender
4080 or
Ares.
4070 will be better than 40.
Okay,
Don't buy no more
alright.
3000
Alright.
series or lower,
Crazy.
man.
You said,
I'm telling you, you're going to kick yourself in the
Gleaming.
butt if you
and
do
they
that.
said bet.
Yeah. They said, oh, we can make it gleam eye for sure. Yeah, it looks absolutely incredible. And again, just I'm getting to this point where every time I see it, I'm like, all right, it already looks good in Smite 1, as you can see here.
Ooh, I love
Oh
this
wait,
sword.
his skin is like he's like an elemental.
Yeah, that's a boy of energy. That's a boy of gleam.
Bro, that's crazy. The sword's
Yeah.
sick. The little halo sick. I mean, Ares has wings,
Yeah,
which is
I was
also
gonna say those
wild.
big old
I was gonna
incredible
say
wings.
the wings are crazy, right? I think the shield might be crazier. That little like
I don't think
hole in the
that's
shield
not my
is
favorite
so
skin,
cool
dude.
with a little face motif too.
I
And
mean,
that's gonna breathe fire,
I appreciate
right?
what
So
they're
that's
trying to
that's
do,
even
but it's
cooler.
like, eh.
And
Pass.
you want to know
I'll
where else it looks
pass.
pretty cool? In the Smite 2 render. Let's get over there.
Oh,
Bro.
All
man,
right.
that dynamic range.
Yeah.
The dynamic range, like just the
Looks like
sheen
Iron
of
Man.
the sheen the
medieval
shiny
Iron
of the
Man.
metal, because
Yeah.
I don't know what words look like.
And the light. There's a lot of light, right?
Yeah.
So making sure that like difference in terms of the brightest
Yeah.
brights and those darker even
Not my
brights,
favorite, dude. Not my
You
favorite.
know, it feels really clean altogether in this solid package. I think this is going to be a really sick skin, man.
I agree, and I mean, you're not even seeing the particle effects and all of the different effects and the way it reflects in the world.
But these are the
fire?
ones for the battle
A
pass,
fire?
right? So aren't these? They're going to be
we'll
free,
get there
so I guess
soon
it's
enough.
fine.
Last
right?
comment
Anything
before
free
we see
is
it in
good.
game is I like how his sword is like a sword within a bigger sword. You know, it has that
Yeah.
hollow
Hey,
glowing
Olivia, what's
area,
going on?
So he's so ready. He's got 2 swords in 1 sword. Let's check this out in Smite 1. Smite 2 will come later. I know you want it.
Oh, okay.
Dude, I love the way those wings move too. Like,
Yeah, the extra animation for them looks really good.
Super smooth.
well, and they look like, despite being metal and ethereal, they look so flowy. Like they still have that really natural movement.
You
Oh,
didn't miss.
dude.
You didn't miss
love
the
the
new
particle on that
the
too is
new
actually
god
really
yet.
sick.
Yeah,
It came
wow,
just
the,
in
like,
time.
wispy light off the edges.
They're probably
I
going
like
to
the
announce
little,
it
like,
here
rainbow little
here
flickers
shortly.
you get in there from time to time.
Yeah.
This feels really sick. Boom.
And you see, attention to detail. You use the ult.
See,
he's up in the
I don't
air.
like
What
it
does
when they
somebody with
use
wings
stuff
do?
like
Fly.
wings,
He's got the
like
wings
big
flapping
wings or
back
big
there.
old
The animation is
lollipop
super sick.
I
type
agree.
weapons.
I just the attention to detail.
Because
is
for me,
incredible
when
in
I
all of
play,
these.
sometimes it
Okay,
blinds
you're
me.
right. I see the rainbow was like
Yeah, you
wisp
see the little
talking
rainbow?
about.
Yeah.
Anubis
When
is
it
really
freezes too,
bad
you
for
can see it
that,
pop
and
up.
Oh, really?
some
Okay,
of
that's
the
so awesome.
Thanatos
It's really beautiful. I've
skins.
seen
They look
knock
really
it
cool,
apart
but their
this
wings
time.
are
They-
too big.
when don't
Makes
they?
it hard to
You know?
see.
Well, that's true as well.
They have to stop knocking things out of the park because
That's the
soon
only
there's
thing I
nothing
don't
left
like.
in the park. We're gonna have to move the park. So, absolutely awesome. And again, both of these are part of the cross-gen pass, which we are excited about. Gleaming Valor, would you imagine, with how shiny they were? Gleaming Valor is the name of the cross-gen pass. So you can check that out along with all the other stuff we've shown off with the release of 11.2. So we've talked about a lot
Yeah,
of things.
so you guys got from
Talked about a lot of
today
cool things.
until
And,
Monday
we're
at
finally-
mid or
we're
before
finally here.
Tuesday
We're
before they
finally
bring the
talking
servers
about
down
Newt.
to finish
But of
the
course, before we
current
get
battle
there,
pass.
we want y'all to see this little video first.
So make sure you
we'll be
guys
right
knock
back.
that out. All right, here we go.
Finally here. I pray I am not too late. We once lived in harmony, grandfather, but I will not stand for this. Now you see me? Behold the starry night. From the heavens.
Yeah, I finished my
Oh,
battle
my
pass.
darling, if only every soul could be
I finished it
saved.
the day before yesterday.
I am the sky itself. Crumble to stardust. I've spent eons watching this realm. It's time for me to take action as well.
They still have this on the Switch? I didn't know they still have this on Switch.
Yeah, so excited. It's been a long time coming. It's been a long time community request. And I'm super pumped to be here today talking about Newt and her arrival on the battleground
Newt.
in like 6
Not
days.
nut.
But before we do that, I'm going to
It's
welcome
Newt.
some new faces onto the set here. Lermy's been hanging out with us already, but we have Titan GGGG coming with us today as well. Senior gameplay
Dude, that dude
programmer.
looks
How you
like Tony
doing?
Hawk.
Pretty good. Nervous.
I thought that was Tony
No,
Hawk
don't
for a
be.
second
Well,
there.
the
I was
last
like,
time
what
I
the
was here, I
hell?
was talking about Set when he first came out.
It's been a minute.
It's related though, you know.
Yeah. I mean, the
Yeah,
next
some
time
of
guys
you,
have
some
an
of you
Egyptian god, just
young
bring
bucks
me
probably don't
back.
even know who the
we'll
hell
reel you
Tony
right
Hawk
back
is.
in.
Perfect.
So another person I'd like to welcome is chilling in the back here. We have J-Mac, which a lot of y'all already know. Most of y'all should know at this point. J-Mac, a staple of what makes Smite incredible, especially on the esports side. But here today, welcoming him not only as a driver for Newt to help us see her in game, but also as a member of the community team, kicking it with myself and Titan Isaiah. So welcome to the community team, part of the family. So I know you're gonna do a bunch of incredible work. So all right, I could talk about that all day because I love talking about the people I work with, but we have Newt to talk about. And it's been a long time coming, bringing
Newt.
Lore Lady into the game as a playable character who's been working with us for so many years. Like, talk me through the process of landing here. What got us to Newt and Smite?
It's just such an honor, you know, to be working with 11 plus years of history at this point of Smite and making a character that is so beloved by the community. I mean, at first, we weren't even sure what we were going to do, right? We wanted to make sure that Year 11 began with a bang, you know what I mean? So initially, we were like, okay, we need a hunter character. Who can be our hunter?
Yeah.
And so a lot of the community was like, okay, well, you know, a lot of the characters we've been requesting, one of the top ones has been Newt.
Yeah.
And so we were thinking about it. Okay, so we did a little bit of research. Who
Nobody
is
even knew Newt
to
was a
begin with,
hunter.
right?
Come
Yeah,
on,
let's
don't give me
just-
that. The top one was Robin Hood.
Egyptian
That
goddess
was
of
the
the sky.
top request was Robin
And
Hood.
so
Don't
that-
BS
I
us,
don't
dude.
know, where am I
Don't
going?
BS
It's the
us.
emotions from
Come on,
Yeah,
the
all the
top one was
emotions.
Robin
Yeah, it's
Hood.
reuniting with her.
Yeah.
I know it's such a
Nobody even
magical
knew the
thing.
hell
Woo,
that Newt was a
woo,
hunter.
yeah.
Come on, come
Yeah,
on.
bro.
Come on.
Susano.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody
It's
gonna
Newt
believe
and
that
Geb's
crap.
time,
Wow.
But to
All
get
right.
back to it here, a
Yeah,
little
to
bit.
dive back in.
Newt is the goddess of the sky in the Egyptian mythology.
Yeah.
She is the wife of Geb, the granddaughter of Ron. She is also the mother
They're so full
of
of
Set,
it.
Iset, Osiris, and Horus, and also Nephthys. But
What a
she's-
big bringing the family back
I
together.
mean, speaking of a big family,
Yeah.
every star in the sky is said to be her child.
Had they not told
And
me
every
she was a
soul in the
hunter, I
universe
would've thought she was a
protects as well
mage,
whenever
too.
they reach their
What a
untimely
lineage.
end or timely end, depending on the situation.
Holidays
she,
must be
she
wild.
is the barrier kind of between the mortal realm and the chaos of the space beyond the sky. So she will essentially catch the souls of the deceased as they fly up and away into the sky
Yeah.
and guide them to a happy afterlife. And she actually did that for Osiris when he met an unfortunate end due to a lot of circumstances and then
Yeah.
was brought back. So she was a big part of that story as well. And she also
Man.
is the reason that the sun travels through the sky. She is basically the basin with which Ra's, the sun, will travel across and then kind of transfer into night and then come back out in the day and begin again. So she's the whole reason that day and night happens. So
Well, you
she's
weren't
finally
kidding
here.
when you said you really looked into all the lore, huh?
There's a
'Cause
lot of
That
it.
is a lot.
She does a lot of things. She's very, very important in the Egyptian mythos. She is kind of one of the OGs, you might say.
Yeah, one of the
Um,
originals. Got it.
And she also, of course, is the partner to one of our longtime
Yeah.
guardians, supports Geb. So that is very, very exciting to come through. So Newt was requested, right? So that's about Newt. But why Lore
Bro.
Lady as well? Well, when we thought about how Lore Lady was
Stop saying
portrayed
that.
and kind of the role that the Lore Lady played, she kind of was this observer for a very long time. And she would know so much about the realm of the mortals, but she wouldn't really ever take part in it. And then when it went back to how we actually depicted her artistically,
Yeah.
it all just started to click into place, right?
Yeah.
She's this beautiful cosmic woman, and we were like, that it just makes sense. It
Yeah,
just comes together,
it
right?
all come together right now.
Where Newt is goddess of the sky, she has a lot of elements of the starry night, and especially that kind of motherly nature that when it comes to her relationship within the Egyptian pantheon
Yeah.
and just to all of the souls in the universe, like just that iconic presence perfectly aligns, especially thanks to the wonderful voice acting of our dedicated lore lady.
Yeah.
For 12 years now. Can you believe that?
It's
for
been
12
crazy.
Years?
And for
That's
any of
cool
you
that
at
they
Worlds,
finally
you know,
give
we
her
got to
a
spend some time
skin,
working
though.
with her. A lot of y'all got to meet her. Suhaila, absolutely
that's pretty cool they
incredible
did give her.
person.
I mean, she's been
Like, I
working
kid you not.
with
As we were
Smite for
getting
over
ready
12
for
years, I
Worlds,
mean.
you know, I worked very closely with her for the meet and greets.
So that's pretty cool.
Every time I said, hey, we might have to change this, or things might work this way, or I was asking, like, is there anything I need to do for you to make you prepared for this? She was just the easiest person in the world to work with. Every time I was like, hey, I'm sorry, last minute change, we have to shift this or do that. She's like, no problem. Like, do I need to help? Are you good? Like, I don't know. It felt like we were just having fun and playing. Like there was no stress, no whatever. It was
she was just so excited to be there, and I know that she has so much appreciation for the fans and the community. So I mean, thank you guys especially.
Oh, for sure.
For allowing us to keep with this partnership with her, because everyone just loves her. She's so wonderful.
Yeah, and for those of you who did get to meet her, I know that it meant the world to her as much as it did to y'all and as much as it did to us. So it really was a special occasion. So anyway, I guess let's move forward. You know, you want to see Newt in game?
Let's
J-Mac,
do it.
you ready to
Let's
go
see
in
that.
game?
Here we go. Here
All
we
right,
go.
let's dive right in.
Let's
check
dive
out
right in.
Newt.
There she
is.
Oh, wow.
She really just does embody that like goddess vibe.
Yeah.
And she is very tall as well.
It kind of looks like
you'll
something
notice here.
aquatic
She
in a
is
way,
standing on a
something
bit of a
like
platform,
from
and
Atlantis.
unfortunately for her, you know, part of her lore was that she was unfortunately separated from her poor husband Gibbs, so
Yeah.
she is not allowed to touch the earth. As a good kind of nod
No,
to
she
that,
gives me
even
more of
despite how sad
Atlantis
it is.
a vibe
I'm sorry,
than-
it's Valentine's
than,
Day, but
you know,
even today of all
guy.
days, she's not allowed to.
But hey, there's still love conquers all, and they've
Kinda
kept
does.
going through it, so it's still beautiful and romantic. So
Love finds a way.
It
love
does find a way.
finds a way.
And
You
it'll
are
find
right.
its way to the dual lane because she's a hunter.
Awesome. Well, let's get a preview of these abilities.
Yeah,
So
show us,
J-Mac,
J-Mac.
show us the full, beautiful.
Oh, now they're doing the
display
dual
of
thing.
Heavenly power.
Yeah, do it.
Okay.
Boom. Yeah.
All right. There's so
There's a
many
lot of stuff going on.
so many beautiful things
Wow.
happening here. For one, they look amazing. So let's just get that out of the way. Well, I'll say that 100 more times. But I guess let's get into it. So first of all, you got to start with the symbols. Got to start with the basic attacks. So she has these cool astral basic attacks, it looks like.
Yeah, so she is a hunter, right?
They're
So
pretty
she'll be
quick,
doing physical
too.
damage.
Yeah. The
And she is
projectiles
going
are
to be based
fast.
a lot around basic attacks.
Okay.
In terms of just how she is as a class, but they are rather beautiful.
Oh,
she
they really
will
are.
be pulling out of this wonderful water pot that she has, and she is typically described as having this water pot like as her main symbol because it does kind of go in tandem being an icon of motherhood or the womb.
Yeah.
So it goes very, very closely with a lot of her themes.
Okay.
So we thought, what better way than to kind of
Ability
pull these
hunter?
little starry objects, kind of like a
We're about to
quiver, out
see.
and then just throw them out. It is a very, very beautiful and elegant solution for her.
Yeah. Well, and
Which
as a fan of
might
the
explain why they
motif
buff
of
Titans
space,
Bay.
space as an aesthetic,
I don't know.
the trail of that auto attack is probably now among, if not my favorite, like auto attack trail in the game. That is so gorgeous looking.
Very
So
sparkly.
I'm a big.
It feels like ethereal water.
It does feel like ethereal water. You're right. All right. Anyway, I could stare at that all day, but let's move on to the passive. The passive is called Flux. What does Flux do?
So this is going to be basically kind of a soft stim.
Wow,
Yeah.
2%
A lot of hunters will have a stim in their kit. She has a
0.1 per
different kind of
level.
stim that we'll get to in a second.
Stacks
but
10
how this
times.
works is that each time she hits an enemy god with a damaging ability, this is damage as well. So you have to actually do damage to them.
Gotta
to make
hit
this
them.
work.
Got it.
You get a stacking attack speed buff. You can have up to 10 stacks because you can trigger multiple stacks from a single ability, which we'll get into in a little bit. But
Okay.
essentially, hit enemy gods with your abilities, and you will get attack speed.
Got it. I can get behind that. So now we're moving in to her first ability called Convergence.
Yeah, so this is the stim that I was mentioning.
Okay.
If you could just toggle it on for us here, J-Mac, that would be appreciated. So as you can see here, she gets these two kind of little orbs beside her.
Yeah.
And so you'll also notice that she has these awesome, this awesome back piece of these orbs as well.
Reminds
so
me
what's
of
happening
Thoth.
is she's firing at 3 shots at the same time, and they're all converging into a single point. You can see how we got the
I
name.
get it.
And so how this is working is that she is shooting out, again, those 3 projectiles.
Yeah.
The center one functions as close to a basic attack as possible. So it still procs crits, it still
Okay.
procs basic attack items, it does all of that wonderful stuff.
Got it.
And the side projectiles do ability damage and proc ability items, etc.
That's kind of cool.
So it's a very fun little mix, and depending
Wow.
on how accurate you are with these shots, you know, you'll get a combination of the damage as well as, you know, the combination of effects, which is very unique for a lot of hunters. They don't have that similar way to do it.
Yeah.
Dude,
The
do you know
other
what that
important
means?
thing to note is that this passes through enemies and
Okay.
minions.
It's
That
piercing.
means you can
But it doesn't
use
pass through walls. So you can shoot these at a wall, but they will
ability
get stopped. So a
dots,
good way to
items
you know,
with
be careful
basic
with Nuke
attack,
is that you
passive
want to make
damage
sure that you're
to
shooting
items.
directly at them and not into a wall.
Yeah, fair enough. Nothing like being like, I got him, and then it just splashes off the wall, and you're like, oh, I don't got him.
Yeah, there's a couple more pieces to this ability. I know it's kind of crazy.
Okay, keep going, please.
But as you can see with her passive meter, we've got these 4 orbs that will kind of appear off and on her back.
Yeah.
And so this is kind of to indicate how many attacks you will get at any given point using this one, because it's not a single like stack amount that you get for the amount of times that you can shoot. You always get one.
It's kind of like ammo. Extra
I already got a
Okay.
build I want to
It's
try
solid.
out.
You do get
Okay.
bonus
My
shots. So you
brain's
always get
already
one for
working. I
free,
already
no
got a
matter when
build I
you
want
use
to try
this.
out.
Yeah.
And then you can also get up to 4 extra shots, which are those little orbs that you see on her back.
Okay,
So
cool.
as you shoot, you'll see that they start to disappear, and that
Yeah.
will tell you how many that you have left. So at the end of this, you will have no more. But actually, wait, they're coming back. So how you actually get these orbs is that you have to basic attack things.
Okay.
It gets a little complicated, which I understand.
I can see those like the glowing stars
Yeah.
underneath the orbs there.
So
yeah.
the easiest way to track this is in the passive meter. When you
It's kinda
hit
like
an
the
enemy
Morgan
god,
too,
you get
right?
2
With that
stacks. When you hit a
3.
minion, you get 1 stack.
Okay.
So each extra ammo requires 4 stacks. To get all 4 extra ammos, you need 16 stacks. So 16 basic attacks on minions, or 8 on gods, or whatever combination of the in-betweens
Yeah.
to get all of them. And the extra other cool part is that because the center basic attack, or part of that ability, functions as basic attack, you also
Get stacks while
get
using the
stacks
ability.
back for that. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So you'll see here that if you were to use that like full extension, you will still get those extra stacks back.
Yeah.
And when you're done, you have more ready to go.
That's
and you're
really
probably wondering,
cool.
it's going to be on cooldown. So how am I going to use? Why am I getting these stacks now? I can just wait for the cooldown to be on. We'll get to that in a second, but just keep that in the back of your mind because we'll get there.
Okay, the back of my mind is already pretty full, so
I got one more for you.
okay.
You don't have to use all of them in one go.
Dude, that's
You
going to
can,
be some
keep some in your back pocket.
crazy,
Really,
crazy
you can throw a
burst
few out
damage.
and then
I'm
just
telling you that
cancel
right
it.
now.
Back in the okay.
Yeah, so when you cancel this ability, it puts it on cooldown, but you actually refund all the ammo that you have not used yet. So if you never shot out your 3rd or 4th stack, you'll get them back, and you'll be good to go and be able to use them when the cooldown's up next.
My mind is too full. That's really cool. I like that a lot. And that's only one ability. We still have more to talk
Yes,
about.
the rest, I promise, are a little more simple.
That's fine. I like it that way. So this is super cool. This is her second ability, Crashing Comet.
Yeah, so as you can see, when J-Mac throws this ability out, she's going to call down a comet from the sky, and it crashes down on the enemies below.
So it's like
So
the
it does damage,
Himdalier attack.
obviously.
Like Himdalier
But,
was this
you know,
one.
getting hit by a meteor would hurt, and it also would send out a ripple around where it hits. So as you can see, there's 2 areas in the ability here. The center
Yeah.
one roots, the outer one trembles, and we're going to lose Odin. He's going to walk away.
Yeah, he's
Bye,
like, that
Odin.
was
We'll be seeing you."
uncomfortable. I gotta go.
We'll get another Odin back to continue to be our test dummy here,
Yeah.
but essentially, depending on how accurately you
Odin's
hit this,
like,
you get a
"Peace
little bit
out,
more
dude."
CC and a little bit extra damage on top of that.
Yeah.
So this also counts towards flux again, because if you're
Okay.
hitting the center, you're getting 2 stacks. It's gonna feel great to get more extra stacks of that ability. So you get 2 stacks of flux because you've hit him twice. Double damage, double stacks of flux.
Yeah, more attack speed. All right, well, that's super cool. Also going to be really fun to use in team fights because one person's hurting and the rest of the people are like, whoa. All right,
Very unique CC for
yeah,
as well.
very unique and very pretty. I mean, again, space
Yay,
aesthetic. So
more
we're on to the third
CC.
ability
That's
now.
what we needed.
Warp.
This
You
one
can
might
warp.
be one of the most fun movement abilities that we've put into the game in a long time.
Yeah.
This is an 8-way teleport. So depending on whichever direction that you're moving, you will teleport 15 units in that direction pretty quickly. And
Yeah.
you might say,
So
"Oh my God,
it's
Larry,
Merlin's
a blink?
3.
You put a blink in the
You
game?
put a blink?
15 units is really not that far. So what
Yeah.
this is designed for is to kind of have a juke ability. Let's say like Scylla drops a crush on your feet. You go, uh-oh, push my 3 in whatever direction, and I'm out of it.
Yeah.
And I don't have to worry
Can't
about it.
catch me.
Yeah, so it's like
The
Merlin's
other great part
freaking
about this
3.
ability has several. You might be wondering, well, okay, what's this extra circle around there? If there are enemies within the range of this circle, you will also spawn these projectiles that home into whoever is the closest god. There's 3 of them, and they slow as well.
Okay.
So they will spread out depending on how many gods are in that circle, and then the slow will
Interesting.
also stack up if they get hit by multiple. It will prioritize gods and then minions, and it will only go to 3. If there are more than 3, it will pick the closest 3.
Okay, cool. So you're saying that if there are 3
So
people,
you
though,
got
each one
freaking
of those
heat-seeking
will hone to its
orbs.
own different.
Yep, exactly.
Dang, that's pretty cool.
Every
That's,
combination. there's
that's
2,
kind of
one
OP,
person's gonna
dude.
get hit twice. One person furthest away is gonna get hit once.
How do y'all come up with this stuff?
I mean,
I like that you called
That's
it.
him. He made it.
I like.
So
yeah,
the
right.
question is,
I like that you
is
called
that
it a juke,
also
by the
going to
way. While I
proc
can see it being used as that, I can also see that as a you aren't running
passive
for me.
damage
I'm going
from
to blink you
items,
down.
right?
So
Exactly.
that's gonna be
it's
interesting.
a little hard to chase with it
Okay.
just because it's so short, but if you really are playing aggressive and playing off a crashing comet as well, you can do a pretty solid combo.
Yeah.
Because that's not the only thing this ability does. Remember when I said to keep in the back of your mind while you were still getting stats on your one?
oh, I have to dig in the back of my mind. There's so much, but
Well,
yes.
let's back up in front now, because when you use this ability, it also resets the cooldown of convergence. So let's say you've used your convergence.
for sure.
You've gotten a few extra stacks back, and now you
I
want to
see how that works with
Yeah.
divine. Oh, you can't use
Allow
divine.
me
She's a
to
basic.
just use convergence,
Or-
and it's back.
Huh.
Was it Brawler's
Bada bing,
Beat
bada boom.
Stick?
Bada bing, bada boom. That's really
What's
cool.
the one that gives
I can
that
already see,
damage over
you
2
teleport
seconds?
across
Is
the
it
map,
Brawlers?
You blink it, you blink into the
can't
fight,
remember.
convergence again. The combos are limitless.
Yeah,
That
the
with the
combo
brooch,
tends to
man.
Be very much surrounded around this reset
gonna be
of the
nasty.
cooldown. So I'm
Yeah.
very excited to see how players are able to manipulate the number of stacks that they get on convergence and how they use warp and jumping in and out of fights. It's going to feel really, really cool to,
Well, I mean,
to play around it.
Yeah, and what JMac just did there is just so threatening looking because you have this really wide
doubt it.
ability basic attack,
I
and
don't
then
know.
you
I'm not a
blink,
console
you're slowing
player, but
people, you get to
they didn't
recast
say
that,
anything
you get
about
to
it.
reuse that. It's just such a visual.
Hell, I still got my starter
I
item
don't know.
bug.
I'm visually in awe.
I've
of
had
how
that
cool
starter item
looks
bug
because
for
it's
like
just what
a year now.
threatening thing to see.
It's a lot of orbs.
Yeah, it's a lot of orbs.
Dude, that is.
She brought the orbs, dude.
Yeah, I mean, all of
I'm
the
telling you,
stars are
this
still
guy right
good,
now
so
is going to
she's
get the
gotta be calling up
crack
on them for a little bit
nerfed
of
out
help
of her.
every
I
now
give her
and then,
maybe
you
a
know
week
what
and
I
a
mean?
half, 2 weeks, and they're going
But
to start
that's not
nerfing
even
the hell out
the
of this
biggest
guy.
star that we've yet
That's
to
not even the biggest of the
Her
orbs.
burst
then let's
damage is
get
gonna
right
be
to it. We have
ridiculous.
her ultimate, Skyfall.
So yeah, Newt's a sky, so she goes up into the sky. When she's up there, she's able to move around and aim a little bit, but she's got this giant black hole that she's charging up. Because the
Yeah.
other thing about space is that space is beautiful, but it can also be deadly.
That's
and
true.
one thing that black holes are known to do
Wow.
is that they will pull in anything that's nearby. So if you can hit
He's
by a
your
black
new
hole, imagine
name now.
you're getting pulled back into that center there. So you'll see that targeter has 2 different circles. The inner circle does the majority of the damage, and then after a short delay, that outer
it's
circle
just like
is the
having
area
that,
pulls people.
Okay.
Was
It
it
also
the
does a small
2
amount of damage,
from
but it's balanced
Merlin?
around, the
But
pull
just
is
be
very
able to
powerful
control
back
it.
to the center. You want to make sure that damage is a lot less than if you're hitting it dead on.
Yeah, of course. Man, well, here's a fun science lesson I could be completely incorrect on, and I'm sure if I am, people will tell me. But I'm pretty sure when you get sucked into a black hole, you get like stretched out or whatever because crazy gravity. Pretty sure they call that spaghettification.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've heard of that.
You have? Okay,
Dude, I'm
cool.
telling you,
So
this
that's how
guy's
spaghetti
gonna
was
be.
invented. They were out in
If
space,
you
and
build
they
her
dropped
right,
some,
she's gonna have
wee noodles into a
ridiculous
black
burst
hole, and
damage,
next
man.
thing you know. So,
This ability was very fun to
cool
tinker with,
looking.
right? Especially, I don't know if we're on restricted camera pitch here, but if we can alt and go unrestricted and take a little gander at the sky, very quickly. I know I'm asking quite a lot here. I apologize. I'm pretty sure it's in controls. Yeah, there it is.
I was about to
Okay, so
say.
it's on. You just got to turn that bad boy off. Beautiful. Love. We're doing a little live change.
That's what makes it fun. The live
Goes
stuff is
up.
always fun.
And you can see the whole sky is turning dark. Look at that.
Oh, that's really cool.
then
Yeah,
turns
like
back.
whoop.
Yeah, the other very important thing to note about this ultimate is that Newt will always go back to the location that she started, and she leaves
Okay.
kind of a pillar on the ground, so enemies will know where she's firing it from. The pillar goes very high up into the sky.
Got
You can
it.
see it over walls. You can also tell that she's ulting by just looking
Oh,
at the
but
sky.
she
Yeah.
lands.
Anywhere on the
Even
map
if you
this'll
turn
happen.
around,
So you want to be
she'll
very
land
sure
back
that
where
there
she
was
went
a
up.
lot of counterplay to this ultimate
So
because, again,
she'll be like new
huge,
wall where
huge
she's gonna be a
impact
sitting
by
duck.
this.
Ultimate.
when
can
she
also be very
lands.
good for self-peel, but you also need to be very careful because they're probably going to be waiting for you when
Yeah,
you come back down.
they
I
know
think
where
we
you're gonna
might do.
be,
Yeah,
so.
I think we'll do a
been
stream
bullied in
Tuesday.
many a playtest.
I'll plan for a
because I
stream
went back
for
down to
Tuesday
where
for
I
this
did
new
not want
guy.
to be.
You were like, I'm free, but you weren't free.
Nope.
Yeah, so combined with
I'm
the
gonna
small
plan
amount
for it
of movement
unless
that she
something
has,
comes
yes, the
up between
cooldown
now and
is
then.
relatively low on that, but you're not going
plan
very far, so
for
you can buy
a
yourself
stream
some
for
time to get your
Tuesday.
teammates back to you. But
We'll
if
test her
people
out.
catch up to you, it's gonna be a little scary. So
Yeah.
you might want to call up on Geb, a little bit of extra help.
Yeah,
there to
it
get
is
you
like
out.
kinda like,
she does
Alice's
need
too,
to
for
kind
sure.
of have this really big positioning focus to be in exactly kind of like that sweet spot
Yeah.
for convergence and with her warp as well. So all of these things combined, if you really are a master of
Dude,
positioning,
that's
you're
so
going
much
to do very,
burst
very well
damage.
with
Oh
it.
my lord!
And we've just seen the way that people have learned
And
through
it's
this
like
community.
AoE
People pick her up
burst
in
damage
PTS
too.
and it'll be
Oh.
rough, and then live and it'll be not so rough, and then a month into live and we're gonna be seeing some plays that are just unimaginably crazy. So like again, it's cool seeing a new kit with so
And
much
she has an
possibility like
escape.
this.
An
because
escape with homing missiles.
Playtests have discovered so many things, and then you pass it out
Oh,
to the entire
man.
world at large, the community at large, and just the stuff that
What?
y'all figure out is unbelievable.
And I mean,
so.
we can even talk a little bit on the tech side as well, just like all of the really
Jeez.
cool
An
things
escape
that
with
had to go
homing
into this,
missiles
whether it
that
comes to, like, the
might
skybox or even
activate
just, like,
passive
configuring, but
damage from
ultimately, I'm
items.
sure
Oh
you
my
can
lord,
talk a
that's
bit
gonna be
onto that.
nasty.
I can try.
Please.
Honestly, it was a lot of turning things on and off. Just like
Yeah.
setting things to true, setting things to false. Surprisingly programming.
Oh, you won't
If you
forget
know what
because
you're
you'll be able
doing,
to combo.
Not that
passive
hard,
It's
but you
damage
gotta
items
know
are
what you're
basic
doing.
and
I was about to say,
ability.
see, that's the thing, because I technically spent a chunk of my life programming, and to me it was always very hard because that's the struggle, is figuring out what you're doing. So like it's astounding that you can say that, because from my level you could be like, oh yeah, just go turn that off,
was
and it would
that?
take me 15 hours of googling to be like, oh, it's a slider in this menu, God, or
It's
whatever.
really about the communication though, because
Yeah.
a lot of times
The
like
hell?
we'll have the idea in mind, or even people will approach either of us really with ideas on how to improve abilities, and then we go, okay, well, how do we actually make this work, and how do we translate it? What do all of those like side cases look like? Are the really like small chances?
I think
Yeah.
that she's gonna be a hell of a lot more
There were
fun than
lot
the
of
well.
those
I can tell you that.
were very
for sure.
funny. We made a kind of funny joke out of a bug that we had where when Nuke goes in the
Yeah, we're
sky,
gonna
she
see how
has
she
the black
comes out.
orb in her hand,
Yeah.
the black hole. At a point, you were not ever losing
Oh,
the
dude.
black hole, and it was staying. In
I'm
your
gonna have
hand.
to play. I'm gonna have to
Oh,
do
yeah,
a stream on
put her on my
Tuesday
basketball
just so you guys
just
can
hang
play
out.
her, because everybody and
I
their
made it sound a
mother's
lot
gonna be
easier than it
insta
was.
locking the
One of
crap
my
out of this
favorite
god
bugs
for like
during
the first 2 or 3
development
weeks,
was,
man.
During the ult,
This is actually
she
a
could just-
god that
I don't know how it
even
happened. She could
a
just permanently juggle
new
someone for
player
like 5
can
seconds
pick
and
up.
Oh,
It looks
yeah, I
like.
do
playing them
remember that.
higher and higher.
Looks like she'll be
At
newbie
one
friendly.
point, someone got like an Odin in jungle
So
practice on top.
I
of
would
one of the
not be
walls.
surprised if
So-
it's going to be hard to even be able to
There
play
were some
her
very
because of all
funny
the insta
interactions
locks.
with the momentum,
Yeah.
physics-based.
Yeah,
movement
the
going
well
on
was
in
dead on
Ultimate.
arrival. I said
so
that
we had to
going
make
in
sure we
too.
ironed out a lot of those bugs before going to live. But obviously,
That well
she's
was
looking great now.
yeah, he was done
Honestly, that's
for
one of my
before he
favorite
came. I don't
part
even
of
know. That was
working
somebody's pet
so
project.
close to this game is sometimes a bug will pop up, and it usually lasts like a day or whatever. Like y'all figure
This
stuff
one, I
out really
think,
quick because y'all are super good
if
at
it plays
iterating,
out the way I
but
think
some of
it
them
is,
are
I think that
so
this is going to be
funny
one of the
hear
gods
about.
that
it's-
actually gets
there's little
played
nuggets that stay
longer
with you
than a couple
forever.
weeks.
So,
You know what I'm
well,
saying?
super cool. So again, this is new. A lot of cool stuff to look forward to. Of course, the skin will launch next week, 6 days from now, with the usual skins that you're used to seeing. So we're gonna start off with her first skin, your standard recolor here. We have the card art for
Yeah.
it. Really, really cool looking.
I just can't believe how amazing this card art turned out.
Yeah, this is the normal card art, by the
Yeah,
way.
this
I
is
use that
standard.
for my
Start off. Yeah,
for my
this is just
It's gonna
freaking.
be hard to top this. Let me tell you.
I use
Yeah.
that
High
for
bar.
my
It is a
thumbnail.
high bar. I mean, when aren't the people around here setting high bars? Like,
I mean, they just took like everything about her lore and really ran with it. Like she is watching over with this gentle gaze, and when she's talked about as being the sky itself, they say that each of her appendages reaches from end to end
Dude,
of
that
the earth.
Serb
Yeah.
touches them
freaking
all,
update.
and she really is
Ooh,
just reaching out.
that was
waiting
was
for the
still
souls
ringing
to
in
come
my
straight
ears.
to her hand.
yeah,
That's
so cool.
gigantic, dude.
All right, so let's check out the next card art. Her, the standard recolor, the launch recolor. Very pretty looking.
So
Looks
beautiful.
exactly the same.
This is a very cool purple. I
Yeah.
love as well because we're kind of staying in the spacey theme, but going
Yeah.
kind of like inverted a little bit, where her hair previously is a lot of blue and purples, and we're swapping it up where it's a lot more light for her hair and a lot more dark for her clothes, which I love. I think it looks amazing.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know if I called this out while we were looking at the model live in game, but her hair is just miraculous to look
It
Oh,
at.
really
it's so
is.
cool. They
It
did a
is
great job.
Yeah, it's magnificent work of our teams to make her hair as just, I don't know, it's space
Flowy
itself.
and
Yeah,
spacey.
it's one of the reasons I fell in love with Atlas, because
Sorry.
he has kind of some space hair, but Newt's space hair is next level.
Yeah.
So
I don't know the ins and outs of it, but I'm pretty sure it's new-ish tech. I think it's a new combination of technologies we've done.
like you said with the raising the bar, we've gotten to the point where the bar is so high that our teams are pole vaulting for every new bar, and they're still hitting it every time.
Yeah, I mean, there was
so.
lots of new tech that went into just her visuals as well, especially
New
with the
tech.
flowing capes. I mean, and you could just see how beautiful they turned out. Even
Oh,
the
yeah.
artwork itself, the flowing being impacted by which direction that you're moving, and just transitioning through those animations just so much smoother. It's gorgeous.
Shout out to the art team.
Shout
Shout
out to
out.
I
the
didn't even
art
realize
team.
the chat
All right, so
wasn't
next
going
up,
across
we
at the
have
top.
her
The whole
Ascended
whole
skin. We
screen.
have the card art for that here as well.
I just love it. It's so,
Dude,
it's so beautiful.
it's got the pink.
It's pink.
It's pink.
It's
I
pink.
love too though how you still have that border of space, like you like
Yeah.
in the depth of her hair or in the
must
crevices and
accidentally
like the
turned it off.
flowy cloak, or I guess I don't know what you call those cloaks. Looks like a scarf a little bit, a tassel. I don't know what the word is because I don't know clothes very well. but just I love how you have space chiseled into all of those different
There it
spots.
goes.
And,
It's
like,
working
it's just
now.
unmistakably like that is still Newt.
Yeah, I just turned it on. I must
just such a
accidentally
gorgeous
turned it
combo of
off.
Colors and perfect for the occasion, right?
I
It's
mean,
working
We keep
now.
going back to it,
that
but it just
romantic
works out every time.
Valentine's.
Now that the show's over, right?
Way to bring it back. Now,
At least I saw it before Tuesday's
can't
stream.
not look at the masteries too. You got to see
we got
the
'em.
way the masteries look. So let's check those out.
It's just so epic.
The gold.
We've been seeing a lot of Newt when she's nice.
Yeah.
Newt's not always nice. She's gotta put on the bad cop role sometimes when her children are acting up. You know, she's
Oh
gonna
my
put them
Lord.
in timeout, and maybe sometimes that timeout will be sending you to the grayscale screen. So
The
prepare for that.
Little gray screen simulator, just a hair. Man, when your kids are acting up and your kids are the stars, how do you even deal with that?
You gotta ask Newt, man. I don't know.
I mean, I guess that's a testament to her power because I wouldn't know how to deal. I don't know how to deal with it when my pet rat acts up. I'm like, stop that, you. Let alone every star in the galaxy. So, just another testament to her power.
I think it's the classic "Don't make me come up there" kind
That's
of
true.
line.
Do you think she has that low? Like, do you think she counts? She's like 1, and it echoes across
yeah.
the galaxy, and they're like, all right, she's at 4. We have to stop.
Yeah.
So, whew, that is threatening. So, all right, well, cool. We've done it. We made it.
did it.
We finally get to talk
1:30.
about Newt, right?
That's so crazy.
I just, man, it's super exciting. And again, shout out to the lore lady. Like, she's just been incredible to work with in every way. Every opportunity we've had to work with her has been amazing. So Suhaila, you are incredible. I hope you get to see this, and I hope you know that we love you here. The community loves you, and you are a pillar of Smite.
Yeah, they showed the Aphrodite skin.
yeah,
It looked
I
actually
mean,
pretty good.
I think that's it. I just want to thank y'all for coming out. Obviously, a couple last minute announcements here at the very end. PTS should be going up soon enough. Just keep your eyes out for it. We'll let y'all know when the doors are open. Our Twitter should have all the info for you there. And the Dev Insight panel still going hard, still happening after this show. So make sure you keep your eyes out for that. You got to go talk, get your questions ready, read through those notes so that when that happens here in just a little bit, you have all of your questions in line and you can ask our amazing designers kind of what their thought process was or, whatever you want to ask. So as we wrap here, the last thing I want to say is stick around for a special message from the lore lady herself, Suhaila. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you later.
Yeah, it did kind of look shellish.
Hello, gods and goddesses. It's me, Suhaila Elatar Young, otherwise known as the Lore Lady, otherwise known as, or finally known as, Newt. I am so excited about this goddess coming out and that I am finally a playable character, and I hope you guys have a blast playing Newt. After 12 years of being with High Res and being with Smite, this is the best thing ever. I mean, everything's been great. Let me everything's been awesome. But this is really awesome too. I hope you guys have so much fun. And I want to thank everybody who made this possible. Thank you.
All right, so that is the update show. So again, she's going to be going live Tuesday. So this upcoming Tuesday. So you got until today, until whenever that patch comes out Tuesday morning, or once the servers go down Tuesday morning to finish out your current battle pass, because then you're going to have the new battle pass too. I think they say PTS is going to be going live either today or tomorrow. So I'll keep an eye on that. Depending on what's going on here, I'll probably check out PTS and see and check her out. If that's the case, then I'll do a build video on her. So we'll have something in the mix by Tuesday when she goes live. If not today, probably tomorrow. So we'll see. But yeah, dude, she actually looks pretty interesting. This is one of the few new guys that we got in a while. Hell, since Donzo or somebody that I actually am interested to test out. I think that she's going to be pretty freaking powerful, dude. I think that her burst damage is going to be redonkulous. I can see her getting nerfed big time. So yeah, so go ahead and plan for a Tuesday stream. I'm going to plan, unless something comes up. As y'all know, I'm actually in the process of moving. I should be packing right now, but it is what it is. I've been dragging butt on it. So, but I think we should be okay. So I'll let y'all know, but just we'll plan on a stream for Tuesday. And for y'all that did not know, the GGC is helping out with Smite 2. We've been invited to pre-alpha test Smite 2. So every Friday I go in with all the big guys in there, your Double J, your Icons, your Weekends, all those big guys, Rexies, all those guys are in there. There's about 150 of us, right? And we're actually pre-alpha testing Smite 2. So I'm actually getting to give some feedback because at the end of time, what they do is they open up the servers for X amount of time. I'm under NDA, so I can't say too much about it, but they said I can talk in specifics. So I'll tell you in specifics, right? So once a week we go in there, we test certain gods, you know, that they introduce for that day. And then we check out for X amount of time while the server's live. And then at the end of it, they give us this questionnaire and we got to fill out all this paperwork and give them the feedback, right? So with that said, we got representation for arena. So yeah, I've been given my feedback for the arena side of the house to get at least give them ideas. Of course, you know, we may or may not have tested that yet. Probably not, but I don't know. I can't give you specifics, but hopefully if they do get that up and running, I can really get a good idea of what that's going to look like if it's not running already, right? But anyway, yeah, so that's big. That's good, man. Well, at least we got our, you know, our say. So now whether they listen to us or not, nah. But, you know, sometimes, you know, people have good ideas and then next thing you know, the people that actually make changes never hear those ideas. Had they heard it, they might have implemented it. So with that said, if you guys have any ideas whatsoever, whether it be for any of the modes, let me know in our Discord. You know what I'm saying? Just let me know in Discord. Because if it's, you know, if it's not something that's crazy, you know what I'm saying? If it makes sense, you know what I'm saying? Then, you know, when I'm doing the testing with these guys, I can slip it in there because we're actually in there. All the guys you see on high res are actually in our secret squirrel Discord with us, right? So what's the guy's name? Isaiah, the black guy with glasses. I think his name is Isaiah. He's actually the community leader that's spearheading this expedition, right? So I'm actually have contact with these high res workers. You know what I'm saying? These guys are not just volunteers. These guys are high res workers. So and programmers, you know, and community managers. So if you guys have any good ideas, let me know in this in my Discord. You can hit me up direct, whatever, and I'll pitch it to them, man. You know what I'm saying? If it makes sense. But just don't be sending me no craziness. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, hey man, appreciate everybody coming out and hanging out. And we'll check out this thing again on Tuesday, right? Again, if you guys are out there lurking, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I'm Dark Garza, the OG on GC. We'll see y'all Tuesday.